Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you and welcome you back to our revision classes. So here, up to now, we have done the revision of our income tax. Successfully, we have completed the same. Then we have moved towards your GST and now we are about in the last day for your revision for your GST. Okay, so before starting with the same, yes everyone, come on. Let's please wish me a good afternoon and then we can start again. Yes, everyone, please come in the chat. Say good afternoon. So we can start. I can see here. Hello, good afternoon, Pratiksha. Good afternoon, Anuraj. Okay. So for the guys, yesterday we started with the GST in the last session. We have done the initial 3 chapters of GST. Yes, Vinith, Rashmita, very good afternoon. Thereafter, we have seen what exactly an introduction of GST, and then we move forward to the next part of that chapter where we have learned that is the different schedules of GST. Schedule 1, where even if you do not give any consideration, still certain supply will be known as supply. Second schedule we have seen where they have been bifurcated the goods, the service, the supply of goods and supply of services. And third schedule we have seen that where certain service, even whatever all 3 things may be there, but still not considered to be supply of goods or supply of services. Right? Then we move forward. Yeah. Then we move forward. And also, yes, one of the most important thing we have seen in supply, good, what to say, 3 things of supply. If all the 3 things get agreed, then and then only it will be go under the definition of supply, and then only the GST will be taxable here. So here, first thing in supply was that anything should be done for consideration. Second thing, it should be in the course or furtherance of business. And third, and the most important thing, that it should be the supply of any goods or services. If all these 3 things happen, then in that case, there is going to be supply and hence there is going to be charge for the GST. Now moving forward in the 4th chapter, we are going to see the place of supply, because in the last chapter we have seen that when there is an intrastate supply, you charge CGST and SGST. But when there is interstate supply between 2 states, we charge IGST. As I've said you, what happens here? You give all the revenue to the central government and central government then gives a part of this, they keep their own part and a part of the same is been given to the that respective state where the destination based consumption tax has to be gone. Okay, so here this supply chapter plays a very important role. Why? Because it decides, see, the one who is sender the goods, it's very simple for him to decide the state from where they belong. But the recipient can be in different ways. It can be different way of place. For example, if someone is traveling from Mumbai to Bangalore, what could be the place of supply? कहीं पे Bangalore के बीच में रहेगा, मुंबई में रहेगा या कहीं बीच में रहेगा. Yeah, for example, some goods are being sent from here. In terms of goods, it's quite simple, but there are many things. Like for example, I'm coming into UDP and I'm teaching you here. What will be the place of supply? So place of supply is very much important so that you can determine whether the sale is interstate or intrastate. Okay. So this chapter clears the same thing here. So let's quickly go into the revision part of this chapter where we'll see the place of supply, all place of supply rules. A second. It's here. Now, place of supply of goods other than import and export. Now, once again, the basic thing, when we say anything has been into import or export. So if from India, if anything goes outside from India, it's known as export. Similarly, if anything is brought into the boundaries of India, it is known as import. The very simple thing which you already know. right? So now here further, supply of goods and service other than import. So please leave import and export outside of India, outside currently, because that's going to be anyways very simple. We'll see that later on. First, let's see in case of goods. Again, very important. See, guys, that's why the schedule 2 talked about what things are goods and what things are in services very clearly. Okay, so because goods के लिए rules अलग है, services के लिए rules अलग है. Let's come to goods first. Now here, where the supply of goods involves the movement of the goods, whether by supplier or by recipient or any person. So wherever there will be the movement of the goods, either by the supplier or even by receiver. In such cases, the place of the goods would be location of the location of the goods at the time at which the movement terminates for the delivery. So the first rule is very simple, which says that whenever these goods are getting moved from one place to other, so wherever this goods movement get terminates, it itself becomes the place of supply. Everyone clear? So for example, say I am transporting some goods from Maharashtra to Karnataka. So see, is there the movement of the goods? Yes. Where the movement terminates, that is the place of supply. I ordered 1000 bottles from Delhi in Udupi to distribute it to students. So either whoever does the movement, that we don't care. Let anyone do the movement. What we do care is movement हुई है goods की, yes, and where the movement is getting terminated, where the movement is completed in Udupi, and that is going to be the place of supply for Karnataka. Now, where the goods are delivered to a recipient or any person on direction of third person by way of transfer of title or otherwise. In such case, principal place business of third person. Now, what is the example of this? Pay attention, everyone. See. Okay. So this is our India, for example. Now say, I am sitting here in Maharashtra, somewhere here. Now what happened? I asked, purchase some goods from Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. And he made the goods ready. He was just about to send me. I gave him call and say, wait, एक काम करो यार, तुम जम्मू कश्मीर में हो ना, एक काम करो, मेरे दिल्ली के ही पार्टी में दे दो आप गुड्स. Do not send up to here. From Jammu Kashmir, you will send the goods here. From here, I will again send to Jammu and Kashmir. Sorry, to Delhi. It is such a big hustle and so much expenditure will be there in the transportation itself. Do one thing, that whatever goods we have, sell directly to the Delhi. Now see, even though goods movement is from Jammu Kashmir to Delhi only, and movement is also terminating at Delhi only, but I am the third person who have called it and who has said on my instruction the goods have been moved from Jammu Kashmir to Delhi. So the location of that is Maharashtra, will become the place of supply. That's what the second condition says. Everything clear? Now, going to the third condition, where there is no movement of goods either by supplier or recipient. Goods are in such a way that they do not need it to be moved. In this case, the location of such goods at the time of delivery or its receipts, delivery to the recipient, will become the place of supply. So for example, say we are constructing a building here. Construct कर रहे हैं हम building. अब building का तो movement होने नहीं वाला है. So wherever he is going to do the delivery, say that was in the place of UDP itself, on a beach house. So that itself becomes a place of supply. Everyone clear? Next, where the goods are being assembled or installed at site. Say so in this case, the place where the goods are being assembled or installed, the question में ही आंसर है भाई, जहाँ पे आप assemble कर रहे हो वही आपका place बन जाएगा. For example, say I ordered a sofa, but sofa आने के बाद मैं खुद नहीं assemble कर रहा हूँ. I asked their man, please come and assemble this यार. I do not know how to assemble this. They came and they assembled the sofa in my office. It itself becomes a place of supply. Okay. Fifth, where the goods are supplied on board a conveyance like vessel, aircraft, train, motor, vehicle. Okay. So wherever the goods are supplied on any board, like for example, if I'm going in train nowadays, in Vande Bharat train, they serve food as well, right? Similarly, if the food that has been supplied in aircraft, so what you feel, what do you think, what air hostess will do? Once she will give you the food, she will note down, हाँ सुमित सर ने हैदराबाद के ऊपर खाना खाया, place of supply हैदराबाद. नहीं भाई, सुमित सर ने इस बार खाना खाया है दिल्ली के ऊपर, दिल्ली place of supply. No. So in such cases, इतना करना possible नहीं है. What you will do is, such goods are ऑन बोर्ड जहां पे भी ये गुड्स अंदर लिए गए थे आपके फ्लाइट में या आपके वेसल में, तो जहां से लिए गए थे वही आपका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई बन जाएगा। एवरीवन क्लियर? सो इन केस ऑफ गुड्स द थिंग्स आर क्वाइट सिंपल। एंड नेक्स्ट, where the place of supply of goods cannot be determined from the above provision to be determined as per the prescribed manner। बाद में और हम प्रेस्क्राइब मैनर देंगे वो हिसाब से करना। सो दिस आर बेसिकली द 5 थिंग्स विच आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर डिसाइडिंग द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई इन केस ऑफ गुड्स व्हेन देयर इज नाइदर इंपोर्ट और एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ द गुड्स। मूवमेंट ऑफ द गुड्स, वेयर द मूवमेंट टर्मिनेट्स। ठीक है, एक कॉल थर्ड पर्सन सेज इट, यहाँ से वहां डीलर कर देना, वो थर्ड पर्सन, जो थर्ड पर्सन है उसकी जगह प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई कर देना। Therefore, no movement of the goods where the goods have been delivered to the recipient, assembly of goods जहाँ पे assembly हुई है, ट्रेन वगैरह में जहाँ पे अंदर लिए गए हैं। सी ऑल द क्वेश्चन itself gives you the answer, आपको याद रखने की भी जरूरत नहीं है। सी मूवमेंट ऑफ द गुड्स, भाई मूवमेंट क्या खत्म हुई है, वेरी सिंपल। ठीक है, कोई थर्ड पर्सन बता रहा है कि यहाँ से वहां भेज दो, थर्ड पर्सन की जगह बना दो। नो मूवमेंट, नो मूवमेंट है तो फिर कहाँ डिलीवरी दे रहे हो? इट्स वेरी सिंपल, वेरी लॉजिकल, राइट? ऑन साइट तो साइट की जगह, ऑन बोर्ड जहाँ बोर्ड से लिया है। दैट्स इट। एवरीवन क्लियर विद द सेम? Yes, just go through with all the what do we say, all the 5 provisions of your place of supply. Ask me if you have any queries, guys. Sir, in this ongoing class, can you change the background or no? If you can easily, then please do it now because it's very sparkling. Because my shirt is also very light today. Everyone done, guys? Any queries? So please let me know. Okay, let me see. Come on, sir, everyone, are you clear? Shall we move forward? Okay, let's go to the next place. Next thing. Place of supply of services where location of the supplier and recipient in India. Prediction of place of supply of services where location of supplier, that is LOR, and recipient as well, that is location of supplier LOS and LOR, both are in India. In case of services, we are talking now. When the wait a second, yeah, when the supplier of services and the recipient of services, when both are in India, then we are talking the place of supply के rules. Okay. So here, in respect of section 12, it is given here. See, in case of, again remember, see, whenever you are reading a question, please first understand about exactly is the location of supplier and location of recipient. Goods से तो बहुत ही सिंपल है, कोई टेंशन ही नहीं है, because if goods no import and export in the goods and you have that 5 conditions. But in case of service, check what's the location of supplier and what's the location of recipient. First check these both things and then move forward. If that is correct, then come here in section 12. What section 12 says that? Immovable property, related services, including accommodation in hotel, boat, vessel. तो सर्विसेज आपको इस तरीके से दी हुई है, परफेक्ट। सर्विसेज आपको इस तरीके से दी हुई है कि वो आपको होटल में, बोट में या वेसल में प्रोवाइड की गई थी सर्विसेज। So in this case, again, I'm saying you location of the recipient and location of the what do we say? Recipient and location of the supplier both should be in India. Then and only you come here. So location at which the immovable property or boat or vessel is located or intended to be located. If located outside India, location of the recipient. See, जब ये दोनों भी इंडिया में है और इनको बोर्ड पे कुछ सर्विस दी जा रही है, सो जहां पे भी वो आपकी बोट है, जहां पे भी आपकी होटल है, बोट है, वेसल है, or board vessel is located, that will become the place of supply. Further, if the location, I'm so sorry, yaar. या फर्दर, इफ द लोकेशन इज आउटसाइड इंडिया, अगर बाई चांस लोकेशन कहीं बाहर आ रही है, तो एक काम करो, हम उसको इंडिया में ही पकड़ेंगे, बिकॉज रिसिपिएंट एज वेल एज supplier both were in India. Now further, if the immovable property or boat or, and now see immovable property, I will say another example. In the, मैंने अभी boat का एक example लिया, वैसे another example. Let's take an example. Again, I'm saying now, see, both of the persons, receiver as well as supplier are in India, और immovable property locate होने वाली है ऑस्ट्रेलिया में. Okay, so location of supplier and location of recipient, both are India. Even though immovable property is out in Australia, it will be considered in India. Why? Because both are the Indians, both are in India. Next, if immovable properties or boat or vessel is located in more than one state, महाराष्ट्र में भी एक बिल्डिंग बना रहे हैं हम, एक कर्नाटका में बना रहे हैं, एक यूपी में बना रहे हैं. In each state, as the proportion you can be done. So in this case, what you'll do, as per the proportion, you'll take the supply place of supply in each state. Next, restaurant and catering services, personal grooming, fitness, beauty, treatment and health services. So in such services, the services can be provided anywhere. Again now, when the location and supplier of recipient and location is India, location will be where the actually services performed. For example, a bride is there. जो ब्राइड का मेकअप किया, अब सी फैमिली रहने वाली महाराष्ट्र की है, शादी हुई है केरला में, ब्राइड का मेकअप किया गया था केरला में, तो जहां पे सर्विसेज परफॉर्म हुई है, दैट विल बी द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई. राइट, एवरीवन क्लियर? नेक्स्ट, ट्रेनिंग एंड परफॉर्मेंस एंड अप्राइजल. सो ट्रेनिंग, परफॉर्मेंस एंड अप्राइजल की सर्विसेज जैसे मैं जो कर रहा हूं, इफ इट इज बी टू बी, इफ आई एम गिविंग फ्रॉम मी टू बी टू बी, देन लोकेशन ऑफ द रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन. एंड इन केस ऑफ बी टू सी, if I'm directly giving to the customer, directly I'm teaching it to you in case where the services are actually performed. So जहाँ पे सर्विस परफॉर्म की गई थी वो, अगर बी टू बी दे रहा है तो हम जिसको दे रहे हैं उसका ले लो आप प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई, और बी टू सी है, सो जो कस्टमर से आप जहाँ पे सर्विस दे रहे हो वो आपका ले लो प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई. नेक्स्ट, एडमिशन टू एन इवेंट ऑफ पार्क, जहाँ पे भी इवेंट और पार्क एक्चुअली लोकेटेड है. सो इफ यू गो टू इमेजिका, even from we are being Karnataka, even someone is from Delhi, even someone is from say Assam, still Imagika, where is the plant is located, that will itself become the place of supply. Next, organization of an event including ancillary services and assigning of sponsorship to such events. B2B, place of register of business. B2C, जहाँ पे event आपका actually हो रहा है. And if event is outside India, then the location of the recipient. See, when the supplier as well as recipient is in India, we do not want to go outside India for any particular purpose of GST. We will keep them in the India only. Location of the recipient ले लेंगे. So everywhere you will see that. Also many times where the person, other person is registered, you will take directly registered person's location. Further, transportation of goods including mails or couriers. B2B है तो registered person, B2C है, location at which such goods have to be handed over for transportation. So if you give me some parcel for, if you give me some, what we say, if you give me certain things to do parcel, तो आपने जहाँ पे मुझे दिया है वही बन जाएगा मेरा place of business. If goods are transported outside India, then location of the goods, location of the destination of the goods. इस केस में destination of goods बन जाएगा आपका location, place of supply. Everyone clear? सो B2B में रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, B2C में जहां पे गुड्स हैंड ओवर किए गए थे वो जगह. नेक्स्ट इज पैसेंजर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. B2B है, लोकेशन ऑफ रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन. B2C है, place where the passenger embarks the journey. So if I am taking a bus from Mumbai to Pune, or sorry, Pune to Udupi, okay, in this case, from where I'm embarking the journey, that would be the place of supply. But if I'm registered person, even though I'm going from Udupi to Pune or Pune to Udupi, कहीं से भी कहीं पे भी जाओ, दिल्ली से बॉम्बे, बॉम्बे से दिल्ली, दिल्ली से आसाम, कहीं पे भी जाओ आप, if you are a registered person, then registered person का जगह बन जाएगा place of supply. If no, if it, another person is customer, in that case it will be become the and where the person embarks the journey. Okay. चलिए चले गया यहाँ से स्क्रीन। ओके, नेक्स्ट, सर्विसेज ऑन बोर्ड कन्वेंस, लोकेशन ऑफ फर्स्ट शेड्यूल्ड पॉइंट। कोई भी कन्वेंस पे कोई सर्विस दिए, खाना वगैरह दिया गया हुआ है, तो जो भी फर्स्ट शेड्यूल्ड पॉइंट है डिपार्चर का, दैट विल बिकम द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई। फर्दर, बैंकिंग एंड अदर फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज, लोकेशन ऑफ रिसिपिएंट, अगर वो रिकॉर्ड्स में है, नहीं है, तो लोकेशन ऑफ सप्लायर इटसेल्फ विल बिकम द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई। इंश्योरेंस सर्विसेज, बी टू बी है तो रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, बी टू सी है तो लोकेशन ऑफ द recipient will be the place of supply.
To achieve the dream of becoming chartered.
Advertisement services to the government is there. Okay, कोई भी गवर्नमेंट को एडवर्टाइजमेंट सर्विस देता है तो जो भी स्टेट में वगैरह में दिया है वो उसको रहेगा, और अगर ऐसे सेंट्रली कोई तो भी दिया हुआ है, दो चार स्टेट को मिलकर दिया हुआ है, तो प्रपोर्शन हम कर देंगे प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई के लिए भी। टेलीकम्युनिकेशन सर, these are all one liners. Okay guys, so what you can do is about this, there is no other option, ये आपको चार्ट बना के स्टिक करना ही पड़ेगा, no other option is for this. Telecommunication services, services involving fixed line, leased and internet based circuits, dish antenna, where such equipment has been put. And for postpaid bills, internet, location of the billing would be the place of supply. Okay, thereafter, if it is prepaid mobile phone, so chal raha na lecture, हाँ चल रहा है lecture sir, lecture is on ना, हाँ. If it is prepaid mobiles, DTH services provided through selling agent, redistribution seller agent, अगर ये किसी के थ्रू प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं तो वो जो सेलर एजेंट है उसका एड्रेस बन जाएगा प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई। डायरेक्ट सब्सक्राइबर को दे रहे हैं तो लोकेशन ऑफ द प्री पेमेंट विल बी द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई। व्हेन द पेमेंट इज मेड थ्रू इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मोड, जो भी रिकॉर्ड्स में है वो बन जाएगा प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई। ओके, जस्ट गो थ्रू दिस वंस, read it once guys. If you have any queries please ask me. These are all one liners and not very much difficult part, as GST is very very simple in comparison to income tax. Okay, other cases, the address of the recipient. And the last one, if the leased circuit is installed in more than one state, then again each state you have to give it proportionate. Okay, so these are all the services, around 12, whose place of supply we have given, that will be in case of location of recipient and place and the supply location of supplier are in India. Okay, the next is, okay, first you say me any query in this part guys? Okay, the next is manner of determination of proportionate value of immovable property related to services attributable to different states of union territories where the immovable property is located in absence of contract or agreement in this regard. Now see, in case of immovable property where this has been service has been given to different states where immovable property can be property, boat or vessel is located, ऐसे केस में क्या होगा? So pay attention everyone. Services provided by way of lodging or accommodation by hotel, in guest house, etc., and its ancillary services, other than the case where such property is single property located in two or more contiguous states, number of nights stayed in such property. So इस केस में आप जहाँ पे अलग अलग जगह पे हो, तो जहाँ पे आप जितनी नाइट्स स्टे करोगे, that will be the place of supply. That would be the factor. That will be the factor on which this will be determined, which will be proportionated. All other services provided in relation to immovable property, including organizing any marriage or reception, etc., accommodation of single property located in two or more contiguous state or union territories, area of immovable property lying in each state of union territories. अब एक ही होटल है जो दो स्टेट के अंदर है, इट्स समथिंग लाइक दिस, यहाँ पे है महाराष्ट्र, यहाँ है कर्नाटका, सो कितनी एरिया किधर है वो हिसाब से हम आपका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई डिसाइड करेंगे प्रोपोर्शनेटली। Services by way of lodging, accommodation by a houseboat or vessel or ancillary services, time spent by houseboat or vessel in each such state, unit rate to be determined on the basis of the declaration made by the service provider. So depending upon this, so it's very logical. The proportion is done on the basis. If you are on two different, three, four different places, for per night basis, we'll proportionate it. If you are in any boat or something, houseboat, something like that, so in which state you are in for how much time, on depending upon that. If one same hotel is in two or more states, from because some huge resorts are there in which separates two different states, so in this case, do it proportionate again. Okay, now manner of determining proportionate value of service relating to the organizing of event attributable to different states. So organization of event ancillary services, proportionate value computed by application of generally accepted accounting principles. तो by GAAP गैप आपकी जो भी proportion value है आप ये उसको अप्लाई उसके हिसाब से अप्लाई कर देना. So this is a particular case of immovable property which was put into amendment 2 years back. Okay. Further, the manner of determining proportionate value of advertisement service attributable to different states and union territories, where the advertisement is broadcasted, run, played, disseminated in the absence of contract or agreement in regard. अब कोई ऐसी एडवर्टाइजमेंट है जो अलग अलग स्टेट में दिखाई गई है हमारे टीवी चैनल के थ्रू, तो ऐसे केस में आप किस तरीके से आपका प्रोपोर्शनेट करोगे वैल्यू को. ओके, सो एडवर्टाइजमेंट इन न्यूज़पेपर एंड पब्लिकेशंस, if it is done, amount payable for publishing and advertisement in all the edition of newspaper or publication which are published in each territory. So से महाराष्ट्र में कितने गए हैं और आपका अमाउंट महाराष्ट्र के लिए कितना है पेपर का है और कर्नाटका का कितना है, तो वो हिसाब से यू विल डिस्ट्रीब्यूट इट. Advertisement through printed material like pamphlets, leaflets, diaries, amount payable for the distribution of each number in each state. It's very logical. नहीं पढ़ा तो भी आप लॉजिक से भी कर दोगे. Advertisement in hoardings other than those on trains, because trains तो moving रहेगी, applicable from hoardings located in each state and each union territory. Advertisement on trains, amount attributable to each union state calculated in the ratio of the length of the railway track in each of the state. तो वो रेलवे ट्रैक कर्नाटक में कितना था और महाराष्ट्र में कितना था, वो हिसाब से हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे. Advertisement on the back of utility bill of oil gas companies, amount to each state for the advertisement on the bills. जितने स्टेट में जितने बिल्स है वो हिसाब से हम प्रोपोर्शनेट कर देंगे. एडवर्टाइजमेंट ऑन रेलवे टिकट्स, जितने टिकट जहां पे है आपके रेशियो ऑफ नंबर ऑफ रेलवे स्टेशन इन ईच ऑफ द स्टेट, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन दैट विल डू इट. एडवर्टाइजमेंट ऑन रेडियो स्टेशन, प्लीज रिमेंबर रेलवे टिकट्स पे किया ना, अमाउंट एट्रिब्यूटेबल टू ईच स्टेट यूनियन टेरिटरी कैलकुलेटेड इन द रेशियो ऑफ नंबर ऑफ रेलवे स्टेशन, नॉट नंबर ऑफ पीपल और नंबर ऑफ टिकट्स, नंबर ऑफ रेलवे स्टेशन इन ईच स्टेट. एडवर्टाइजमेंट ऑन रेडियो स्टेशंस, amount payable to such radio station by virtue of its name, a part of each unit rated name, वो खुद से बताएं, उनको पूछेंगे. Advertisement on television channel, this is one of the important part. Okay, amount attributable to each state or union territory calculated on the basis of viewership of such channel in the respective state and the union territory. Viewership figures for the last week of given quarter, viewership figure of last week of a given quarter as published by BARC. BARC is the authority which gives the ratings. Ratings, what we say them? RTR. What is the word for that? यार, I'll say you. RTP. TP. RTP तो हमारी होती है TRP. Yeah, the word is TRP. Okay, so BARC is the association which gives you the TRP for different ratings कि आपको कितना क्या हुआ था. तो इस केस में you will see on the viewership of BARC, you will distribute the credit on the TRP rating given by BARC, you will distribute the amount here depending on the same कितनी चैनल को कितनी व्यूवरशिप मिली थी आपके कौन से स्टेट में, वो हिसाब से. एडवर्टाइजमेंट इन सिनेमा हॉल्स, so in each state how many cinema halls you have. Advertisement on internet, it is deemed to be such service provided all over India, so amount attributable to each state or union territory shall be on the basis of internet subscribers in each state and union territory. तो सी इतना कंफ्यूजन अगर आप कर रहे हो, आप अगर ऐसे कॉमन जगह पे एडवर्टाइजमेंट दे रहे हो, so whichever is the basis which is most common or we got the figures from some authoritative place, we distribute the credit on the same basis. Further, advertisement through SMS, अगेन किस कौन से कंट्री कौन से स्टेट में आपने कितने आपके सब्सक्राइबर थे आपके एसएमएस के, अकॉर्डिंगली विल डिस्ट्रीब्यूट दिस क्रेडिट. ओके, नाउ हियर इंस्टॉलेशन ऑफ लीज्ड सर्किट, in case of installation of leased circuit, Proportionate value on the basis of computer on basis of number of points lying in the state and union territory. तो आपका कोई लीज सर्किट आप पूरे स्टेट्स में डाल रहे हो, तो जहां पे जितने सर्किट पॉइंट है ऑन दैट proportionate you will distribute the place of supply manner, the manner will be distributed in the same way of that proportion. Further, for a circuit again between 2 points of places, starting point of circuit and the end point of circuit 2 points हो गए, ठीक है. So intermediate point place of circuit constitute of a point if the benefit of the least circuit is also available at the intermediate point. तो अगर सर्किट है आपका जिसके 2 पॉइंट है, स्टार्टिंग एज वेल एज एंड पॉइंट, सो यू सी द इंटरमीडिएट पॉइंट डिपेंडिंग अपॉन विच you can see if the both point are in different states. So whatever is the intermediate point, that would be the point here for the place of supply. Okay. For rest of the other services other than those mentioned above, the default provision has been prescribed here under. Now see, whenever you give B2B, it will be location of such registered person, and B2C, where the address is there, take the address. If the location is there, take the location. If the address is not there, then go for the location. So this is the golden rule or the general rule which will be always applied. Okay. So first part in this, we have seen guys that what will be the place of supply in case of goods when there is no import or export, because when you export, the place of supply becomes outside India, and when you import, the place of supply becomes the importation place. Now then we have seen the place of supply of services in case where location of recipient as well as location of supplier both are in India. There were 12 such cases. They were very important. And then the proportionate, how we were done, that all details were being given for all different places, like telecommunication, lease line, telephone, phones, then advertisement, then train advertisement, railway ticket advertisement, all of such. Okay, and this is the general rule. Wherever none of the above rule is there prescribed for particular industry, or your industry is new, which is not covered in about 12 services, so in that case, this is the general rule which will be applicable. In case of B2B, it will be to the registered person, and in case of B2C, it will be the address if you is there of the recipient, or else it will become the location of the supplier. Everyone clear? Yes, is everyone clear, guys? Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next chapter. I know GST is quite simple, it's quite straightforward, nothing very difficult. इनकम टैक्स में मजा आता है, यहाँ खा लो वहां खा लो, ऐसा ऊपर आगे पीछे. Okay, shall we move to the next chapter, guys? Just a minute, it's getting loaded. Okay. The next chapter is exemptions from GST. Okay, again very simple, straightforward chapter, directly given क्या exemption है क्या exemption नहीं है. Okay, so let's take that and let's move forward with the same. सबसे पहले, who has the power to exempt from tax? So how a government can exempt anything from tax here? Okay, by way of issuance of notification. तो notify कर देंगे, and yes, we know notify is applicable to everyone. It can exempt generally, absolutely, or subject to some conditions, or goods and service of any specified descriptions. So by way of this such notification, they can do the same. Generally, they can accept this exempt particular category or particular category with some restrictions or certain goods or services. Another thing is by special order. exempt from payment of tax under circumstances of an exceptional nature to be stated in such order as may be in public interest. और कभी कभी उनको खुद को लगा तो भी स्पेशल ऑर्डर से भी कर देंगे. Okay, so now let's see what yeah, please remember this. Sometime a question comes for this: how can a government, because what happened, many students ignore this and direct exemption के पास बढ़ते हैं, and institute know this, right? So please go through it once, everyone, by notification and by special order. Okay, let's go forward further. Now let's see all the list of exemptions. So we'll just quickly revise all the list. Okay, services related to charitable and religious activities. Entity registered under section 12AA and 12AB of Income Tax Act. So first you have to take the registration under under Income Tax Act under section 12AA. Please remember AA or AB, which are very simple to remember as well. And if you have the registration in income tax, then come to us, and then we will see that whether services are performed by way of any religious ceremony. अगर आप कर रहे हो कोई भी religious ceremony आप दे रहे हो, या फिर renting of precincts of religious place meant for general public, owned and managed by institution, entities, trust, again registered under Income Tax Act. Now, but please now see, if this is your religious premises, बड़ा ground है, यहाँ पे आपका temple है समझो. Okay, so here we will exempt you अगर ये premises का कुछ part आप rent पे दे रहे हो, for example hotel rooms, if the rent is equal to 1000 or less than 1000 per day. Similarly, अगर आप वहाँ पे पूरी premises में पूरा ground भी किसी को rent पे दे रहे हो, or any mandapam or any hall or anything like that, even that is exempt from GST if your rent is 10,000 or less than 10,000 per day. And in case of उसके बाहर देखो आप बहुत सारी shops देखते हो, and if shops also you are giving it on rent to people, okay, and rent is less than 10,000 or equal to 10,000 per month, no GST. So first you have to take the registration under section income tax, section 12AA or AB. If you get it, then we will say your income are exempt from any religious procession. But further, if your premises room rent पे दे रहे हो 1000 or less, आप कोई लैंड रेंट पे दे रहे हो, मंडपम हॉल रेंट पे दे रहे हो 10,000 और लेस, एंड अगर आप पर डे, हाँ दिन बैट बोथ केस पर डे, इन केस ऑफ एनी शॉप यू आर गिविंग ऑन रेंट एंड दैट टाइम इज 10,000 per month. Further, services by specific organization like KMVN Hajj Committee in respect of religious pilgrimage like Hajj, Kailash Mansarovar Yatra is also exempt. Training and coaching in recreational activities relating to arts culture by an individual or by a charitable trust is also exempt. So this is one of the important exemption. इसके ऊपर कभी कभी क्वेश्चन आ जाता है आपको प्रैक्टिकल. Remember 1000, 1000 and 10,000, 1000, 10,000 and 10,000. But remember 10,000 या 1000 भी एग्जैक्ट रहा तो चलेगा, उसके ऊपर नहीं चलेगा. Because this is what thing you forget in examination. बाकी सब याद रहता है. Next, agriculture related services. So any type of agriculture related service, either you do or you give it on to someone else, the GST won't be chargeable here. What are the agriculture services which are primary in nature? Loading, unloading, packing, storage, warehousing of rice, warehousing of minor forest produce, services by way of storage and warehousing of cereals, pulses, fruits and vegetables. See, all of the primary produce. ऐसा कोई कुछ आपका further process नहीं किया हुआ है. Artificial insemination of livestock, even that is exempt. Like doing all the artificial insemination means breeding them. Carrying out an intermediate production process as job work in relation to cultivation of plant and rearing of animals, exempt. Services relating to cultivation of plants and rearing of animals, except horses for food, fiber, fuel, raw material, or other similar product or agriculture produced by way of Agriculture operation directly related to the production by way of supply of farm labor as well, by way of process carried out an agriculture farm, renting or leasing of agro machinery, loading unloading packaging at warehouses, एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस के लिए, लेकिन वेयर हाउसेस फॉर शुगर नहीं चलेगा, एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस शुगर कैन के लिए चलेगा, एग्रीकल्चर एक्सटेंशन सर्विसेज और एनी सर्विसेज बाय एपीएमसी, एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस मार्केटिंग कमिटी, इन सबसे अगर आप कुछ भी करवाओगे इन सबसे लिए तो इवन दैट वुड बी एग्जाम्प्ट. Everyone clear? Further, for agriculture, just remember one basic thing: agriculture produce होना चाहिए, मतलब basic thing. Yeah, everything would be exempt. Further, educational services, another very important amendment. Not amendment, important section of exemption. Services provided by an educational institution to its students, faculty, and staff. By educational institution to its students or its faculties or staff by way of conduct of entrance examination against consideration in form of entrance fee would be exempt. Further, services provided to an education institution. अब ये जो सर्विसेज एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूट खुद लेगी, ये सर्विस जो एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूट लोगों को दे रही है. So if we say tomorrow take any entrance examination and we are education institution, we won't charge you any GST because GST is exempt from the same. Now the whomever people will say give us some of the services even that are exempt. What are these services? Transportation of students, facilities and staff. Someone gives a bus service, say for example, they will not charge any GST to us. Catering, including midday meals, schemes only if scheme is sponsored by central government or union territories. Further, security cleaning, housekeeping service performed in such education institution. अगर ऐसी भी कोई सर्विस हमको देता है, तो even they won't charge a GST. Further, these exemptions are only applicable to an institution providing services by way of preschool education and education up to higher secondary school or equivalent only. Preschool and higher secondary school. That's it. Okay. Only such education institution this will be exempt. Further, services relating to admission. Now see, ये सिर्फ इसके बारे में बात कर रहे थे. जो एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूट को सर्विसेज हम दे रहे थे ना, हायर सेकेंडरी स्कूल में आपने 12th, तो अगर आप केटरिंग की दो ओनली फॉर स्पॉन्सर्ड बाय सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, या ट्रांसपोर्टेशन वगैरह की दो, या फिर हाउसकीपिंग वगैरह की दो, तो वो जीएसटी लगाकर नहीं देंगे. तो ये रिसीवर है एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट इन दिस सर्विसेज. Further, when educational institute gives services relating to admission to or conduct of examination by education institution, supply of online educational journals or periodicals, this is exemption only is applicable to an institution providing services by way of education as part of curriculum, obtaining qualification recognized by law for time being in force. So ऐसा कुछ आप एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन अगर जो ऐसा कुछ आप एजुकेशन दे रहे हो जो लॉ प्रोवाइड करता है by way of any curriculum, periodicals, journals, so even that would be absolutely exempt here. So these are for education institutions. Further, the next is healthcare services. Healthcare services by clinical establishment, authorized medical practitioner, paramedics. Paramedics means the people who helps the healthcare professionals. That can be nurses, that can be other some of the doctors, that can be anesthesists, that will be in paramedics, that will be in medical only, that can be physiotherapist. However, nothing in the entry shall apply to the services provided by clinical establishment by way of providing room other than ICU, CCU, ICCU, neonatal intensive care unit, having room charges exceeding 5,000 per day to person receiving healthcare services. भाई अगर आप किसी को आईसीयू वगैरह का छोड़ के अगर आप किसी को भी ऐसा रूम दे रहे हो जिसका पर डे रेंट इज मोर देन 5,000, भाई ऐसा पर्सन तो बड़ा आदमी है, ऐसे लिए तो प्लीज जीएसटी भी दे सकता है वो, तो ऐसे को जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल हो जाएगा. दिस इज गिवन इन द अमेंडमेंट. For the transportation of patient by ambulance is also exempt, so they won't charge GST for this as well. Services by veterinary clinic in relation to healthcare of animals and birds, even that is exempt. Further, services by government authority by way of activity in relation to any function entrusted to municipality will be exempt. Department of Post, aircraft and vessel inside, outside the precinct of port, transport of goods or passengers or provided to the business entities will be also exempt. And this will be known as specified services. But A to C, sorry, Department of Post, Aircraft and Goods Trans Passenger. But services by Department of Post by way of postcards, inland letter, book post, and ordinary post, envelope weighing less than 10 gram. Further, services provided by central government to business entity in an aggregate turnover up to such amount in the preceding financial year is eligible for exemption. अगर वो किसी को बिजनेस एंटिटी को दे रहे तो कुछ टर्नओवर की लिमिट हो सकती है. दिस एग्जम्पशन इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल टू स्पेसिफाइड सर्विसेज एंड रेंटिंग ऑफ इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी. Services by central government or anyone to other central government for specified services, and where the consideration of such service does not exceed 5,000, this exemption of specified service will be there. जहाँ पे 5,000 से ऊपर हो गया during a financial year, exemption will be not there. Supply of service by government entity to any of this another person specified under this won't be grants. And services by an old age home run by central government state government entity registered under section 12A or 12AB, that is your what do we say, charitable trust of Income Tax Act. Residents are more than 60 years, against consideration up to 25,000 per month would be exempt. About 25,000 per month would be taxable. Services again by central state government to their undertaking by or PSU by guaranteeing loans, registration required under any other law, and testing, calibrating, safety check. अगर ऐसा भी कुछ सर्विस देती तो वो भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से रहा तो वो एग्जम्प्ट रहेगा. Now here, while they are saying that Department of Post by your postcard, inland post, book post, मतलब स्पीड पोस्ट रहा तो वो टैक्सेबल हो जाएगा आपका. Okay, thereafter, yeah, services by central government, any government by way of tolerating non-performance of a contract for which consideration is form of fines and liquidated damage. अब कोई नॉन परफॉर्मेंस कर रहा है, नॉन परफॉर्मेंस का ऐसा कुछ पैसा मिल रहा है गवर्नमेंट को, सो इन दैट केस आल्सो जीएसटी विल बी एग्जम्प्ट, अगर उसकी जगह कोई डैमेजेस या लिक्विडेटेड फाइन्स दिए हुए होंगे तो. Services provided by government by way of assignment of right to use natural resources to individual farmer from cultivation of plants and rearing of all life forms. So अगर ये भी किसी को राइट दे दिया कि आप ये सब यूज कर सकते हो, इवन दैट वुड बी एग्जम्प्ट, नो taxability of GST. Services by way of deputing officers after office hours or on holidays for inspection of the container stuffing. तो ये आप किसी को सर्विस करने के लिए दे रहे हो, इसके लिए भी कोई भी जीएसटी नहीं रहेगा. By central government to express royalty collection by way of assigning right to collect royalty, and services by rehabilitation professional recognized RCI Act, इसको भी आपको देना, जीएसटी इसके ऊपर भी आपको एप्लीकेबल नहीं रहेगा. Further, so we are seeing all this applicability of GST, whether it will exempted or applicable. So these are all specifically exempted, so no need to charge GST. Construction services, pure labor contract of construction, erection, commissioning, installation, completion, fitting out, repair, maintenance, renovation. ऐसा कोई भी प्योर लेबर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट रहा आपका फॉर इंडिविजुअल हाउस कंस्ट्रक्शन और एनहांसमेंट अंडर द हाउसिंग फॉर ऑल प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना, तो उसके लिए भी आपको जीएसटी नहीं लगेगा. कोई कंस्ट्रक्ट करवा के ले रहा है अपना घर इंडिविजुअल हाउस के हिसाब से, इंडिविजुअल हाउस कंस्ट्रक्शन और या प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के अंदर है, तो उसको वो जीएसटी लगाकर नहीं देगा फॉर लेबर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स. Further, supplied by electricity distribution unit by way of construction, erection, commissioning or installation of any infrastructure for electricity, वो भी जीएसटी नहीं लगेगा. Pure labor contract of construction, erection, again for single residential unit otherwise than part of residential complex. रेसिडेंशियल कॉम्प्लेक्स का पार्ट रहा तो आपको जीएसटी लगेगा, पर सिंगल रेसिडेंशियल यूनिट रहा, कोई अपना बंगला बना रहा है, हाउस बना रहा है, देन इट वोंट बी जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल. Further, services of transport of passengers with or without accompanied belongings. If it is by government, it is exempt. When now we are seeing from the private people. Services provided by air economy class embarking from or terminating in airport located in Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram is exempt. इसमें आप जाओ या इसमें से आप बाहर जाओ, ये exempt रहेगा इन सारी स्पेशल कैटेगरी स्टेट में. Services provided by non-air conditioned contract carriages other than radio taxi for transportation of passengers, excluding tourism conducted tour. So see, if you are having non-AC taxis here, contract carriages will be exempt. बट रेडियो टैक्सी रहा, जो रेडियो टैक्सी मतलब जो एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाता था कंटिन्यूअसली, दैट it will be taxable. Further, if it is for tourism, even that will be taxable. Stage carriage other than AC stage carriage, even that will be taxable here. Further, such services provided to central government by air embarking from terminating of regional connectivity scheme airport against consideration in the form of viability gap funding. This exemption shall only be there till the expiry of 3 years from the date of commencement of the operation of RCS scheme airport notified by Minister of Civil Aviation. Now see, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को किसी ने ये सर्विसेज दी है ताकि वो बाकी रीजनल कनेक्टिविटी स्कीम के अंदर ये बढ़ा पाए, तो 3 साल तक के लिए इसको एग्जाम्पशन दिया हुआ है, बट इट शुड बी गिवन टू सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट व्हाट एंड ट्रांसपोर्ट ऑफ पैसेंजर एंड दिस सर्विसेज। जो एम्बार्किंग फ्रॉम और कनेक्ट टर्मिनेटिंग एट रीजनल कंसल्टेंसी एयरपोर्ट है, रीजनल कनेक्टिविटी स्कीम एयरपोर्ट है, विच विल बी गिवन बाय एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया, सिविल सॉरी मिनिस्टर ऑफ सिविल एविएशन। Such services provided by railways in class other than first class railway and air conditioned coach. So first class and air conditioned coach के अलावा जो भी है वहाँ पे वो भी exempt रहेगा। Metro, monorail, tramway, inland waterways, public transport other than predominantly for tourism and metro cabs और auto rickshaw, इन सब के ऊपर भी GST applicable नहीं रहेगा। Okay. Further, goods transportation of services. Services by way of transportation of goods, the goods through GTA, a courier agency, or by inland waterway. Again, there will be no GST. Exempt transportation of goods by rail, vessel, by GTA in goods carriage. Now see, what items would be exempt in this? Agriculture produce, milk, salt, food grain, organic manure, newspaper and magazines, डिफेंस मिलिट्री इक्विपमेंट एंड रिलीफ इक्विपमेंट। अगर ये कुछ भी आप ट्रांसपोर्ट कर रहे हो बाय जीटीए गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्ट एजेंसी, इन दैट केस दैट वुड बी आल्सो एग्जम्प्ट। सी व्हाट इट सेड दैट सर्विसेज बाय वे ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ऑफ गुड्स बाय रोड एक्सेप्ट द सर्विसेज ऑफ, तो सारी गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्टेशन बाय रोड अदर देन जीटीए और कुरियर एजेंसी टैक्सेबल रहेगी, पर जीटीए के अंदर भी अगर इन कोई चीजों के लिए होगी तो वो आपकी एग्जम्प्ट हो जाएगी। जस्ट गो थ्रू इट वंस गाइस। फर्दर, if any services are provided by a goods transport agency to an unregistered person, including an unregistered casual taxable person, except फैक्ट्री, सोसाइटी, कोऑपरेटिव, बॉडी कॉर्पोरेट, पार्टनरशिप फर्म, सीटीपी, तो अगर जीटीए कोई भी सर्विस अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन को दे रहा है इन सब के अलावा, मतलब कोई इंडिविजुअल को दे रहा है पर्सनल पर्पस के लिए, देन देर इज नो रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ अप्लाइंग जीएसटी देयर। ओके, फर्दर, so GTA services are quite important. Okay, please remember GTA is one of the important point for you. You must have done that very nicely. Next, banking and financial services. Just a second. In case of banking and financial services, extending deposits, loans or advances, sale or purchase of foreign currency, until unless they banking जब कभी कोई सर्विस दे रहा है डिपॉजिट, लोन्स और एडवांसेस के लिए, until unless they are being shown for interest और डिस्काउंट, इस चीजों के लिए है तो वो एग्जम्प्ट रहेगा। बट उसके अलावा वो और भी कुछ चार्ज करेगी आपको सर्विस फीस वगैरह, दैट विल बी टैक्सेबल। सेल और परचेज ऑफ फॉरेन करेंसी फॉर विच अगेन ही चार्ज अ मिनिमम कमीशन फॉर द सेम among is the bank and authorized dealer of foreign exchange or against bank or such dealers. Now see, जब वो एक दूसरे में बैंक फॉरेन करेंसी सेल एक्सचेंज करेंगे, अगेन जीएसटी वुड बी नॉट एप्लीकेबल। एंड फॉर पीपल जनरली whenever you take any loan or anything like that for which the government, for which bank charges you interest, interest के ऊपर जीएसटी नहीं आएगा, but on whatever whatever charges they are putting up upon that GST can be definitely be there. Thereafter, services provided by banking company to basic saving deposit account will be no GST would be there. Services by account opening to any person in relation to settlement of an amount up to 2000 in a single transaction through card, debit card, credit card, charge card, whatever it may be. Up to 2000, again, there should be no GST for the same. Charges के लिए services by intermediary financial services located in multi-service SEZ with international financial service center status given to them. Even for them, there should be no GST applicable. जो भी SEZ में रहेगा, which would be registered with International Financial Service Center (IFSC). Okay. Thereafter, services of life insurance business, that is National Pension System, Army given to by Army, Naval and Air Force insurance funds to its members, और जो भी आपका नेशनल पेंशन स्कीम देगा बाय पेंशन फंड रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी, ये भी आपका एग्जाम्प्ट रहेगा यहाँ पर. Services of life insurance provided agreed to be provided under Central Armed Forces, Naval Insurance Group. Services under the following scheme: Jan Bima Yojana, Aam Aadmi Bima Yojana, Life Micro Product where maximum cover is up to 2 lakhs, Varishta Bima Yojana, and all of this. General insurance business, heart insurance, collateral insurance, scheme insurance, tribals, जनता पर्सनल एक्सीडेंट, ग्रुप पर्सनल एक्सीडेंट, इन सब स्कीम्स के ऊपर भी अगेन देयर विल बी नो जीएसटी. जस्ट गो थ्रू विद द लिस्ट वंस गाइस. Our list is never ending. Yeah, just go through the list once. Further, और इतने सारे इंश्योरेंसेस हैं. Okay, just go through that list once, just guys. और इनका इंश्योरेंस और इनका री इंश्योरेंस. व्हाट इज री इंश्योरेंस गाइस? व्हेन सर इंश्योरेंस कंपनी insures this particular insurance from other part insurance company as well, so that complete load should be not upon them, so that is known as reinsurance. So even that would be not under GST. Okay, just read once a list and remember insurance plus reinsurance. Thereafter, services provided by specified bodies: ESIC, that is Employee State Insurance Corporation, Employee Provident Fund Organization, provisions, CMPFO, coal mines, NPS Trust. I'm just going quickly through it, guys. Now, that's just one and one to read. Business facilitators, like correspondent to a banking company with respect to accounts of rural areas. Any pay person, any intermediary to business facilitator or business correspondent with respect to services mentioned in entry A above to an insurance company. So see what happens in rural areas, bank cannot open their own branch. So they do what they do transaction. They do encourage business facilitators to do such places, to go and cover such places. So whenever these people will give any bills to the banks, even that will be not covered in GST. Services provided to government, which are pure service, composite supply of goods and service in which the value of supply of goods constitute not more than 25%, as entrusted to panchayat and municipality by fair price shop under insurance scheme, under any training program for which 75% or more of total expenditure is borne by central government. Leasing services, upfront amount payable in respect of service by way of granting loan, long-term lease 30 years or more, provided by state government industrial corporation. In that case, जहाँ पे आपका लीज 30 years plus रहेगा. Further, legal services provided by arbitral tribunal, partnership firm of advocates or individual advocates, सीनियर एडवोकेट्स, इन सबका सर्विसेज किसी भी बिजनेस एंटिटी के अलावा किसी को भी दिया हो, लाइक इन पर्सनली नेचर, इफ आई टेक एनी सर्विस फ्रॉम एनी एडवोकेट, इवन दैट विल बी पर्सनल पर्पस के लिए रहा तो एग्जम्प्ट, और बिजनेस एंटिटी के लिए रहा तो टैक्सेबल. इनफैक्ट देयर विल बी आरसीएम. बी बिजनेस रजिस्टर टर्नओवर अप टू सच अमाउंट इन प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल एज exemption would be there. Thereafter, sponsorship of sports event by national. So if any sponsorship is given for any sports event, it will be again not exempt or not taxable in GST if it is for any national sports federation, Association of Indian Universities, Inter-Universities, by Central Service Cultural, under Panchayat Yuva Krida Khel Abhiyan Scheme, Skill Development Services by National Skill Development Corporation, Sector Skill, Agency Skill, Trainer Partner, in relation to National Skill again, NSDC and all. Performance by an artist, this is important. Services by an artist by way of performance in folk, classical art form of music, dance, theatre, if the consideration of such performance is not more than 1.5 lakh rupees. And exemption will be not there if this is in a case of brand ambassador. तो अगर वो ब्रांड एम्बेसडर की तरफ पे नहीं है, बाकी कुछ भी तरीके के लिए अप टू 1.5 लाख रुपीज एग्जाम्पशन इज देयर. फर्दर, राइट टू एडमिशन टू वेरियस इवेंट्स, म्यूजियम, नेशनल पार्क, वाइल्ड लाइफ, टाइगर रिजर्व, इनके इसमें होगा, ये भी इंपॉर्टेंट है. इवन देयर इज नो जीएसटी अपॉन दिस. आर्कियोलॉजिकल साइट्स एंड सो ऑन, एनी प्लेस वेयर देयर इज एडमिशन फीस इज नॉट मोर देन 500 पर पर्सन. सर्कस, डांस, ड्रामा, अवार्ड फंक्शन, recognized sport event and planetarium. You see, if 500 rupees, see, म्यूजियम, नेशनल पार्क, वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी, टाइगर रिजर्व, आर्कियोलॉजिकल कलेक्शन, यहाँ पे तो कभी भी जीएसटी आएगा ही नहीं. और 500 रुपीज का लिमिटेशन इज फॉर ऑल दिस टिकट लिमिटेशन. Okay, thereafter other exempt services are except where the residential dwelling is rented, services by way of renting of residential dwelling for use of residence. House you have rented for house, except house is rented for registered to a registered person. Now see, this is again an amendment addition. For all purpose of exemption under this section, this entry shall cover services by renting of residential house to registered person where घर, अपने घर को रेंट, अपने हाउस, हाउस के लिए रेंट किया है, नो जीएसटी, एग्जेम्पशन इज देयर. बट अपने हाउस रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन को दिया है, वेर the registered person is a proprietor of a proprietorship concern, rents and rents the residential dwelling in personal capacity for use of his own residence, and such renting is in own account and not that of proprietor concern. अब see, आपने except where the residential dwelling is rented to a registered person. So अगर आपने under this entry shall cover services by way of renting of. So here what they have said that if you have rented the house for rented for a residential purpose, it's not GST not applicable. But if you have given this house on a residential purpose to a proprietor, to a business registered person, and the same is not using it for business and it's not in the account of any proprietor concern as well, then it's fine. Or else GST would be applicable in that case as well. Services by way of hiring 12 more than 12 vehicles, to motor vehicle may carry for more than 12 passengers, and it is exempt. Then services provided to incumbent up to 50 lakhs turnover to and period of 3 years is again exempt. In collecting and putting of news, public libraries. Okay, so just go through with the remaining list, guys. Once by way of RTI Act, Foreign Diplomatic Mission, NCC, Gold, National Center for Cold Chain Development, and preconditioning and pre-cooling, ripening of waxing, retail packing, labeling for the fruits and vegetables, which do not change the essential characteristics. This is also important. अगर कोई भी सर्विस आप दे रहे हो फॉर पैकिंग, प्री कूलिंग, राइपनिंग ऑफ वैक्सिंग ऑफ एनी ऑफ द फूड प्रोडक्ट्स, एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट विच डू नॉट चेंज द इसेंशियल, मतलब केचप नहीं बनेगा, सिर्फ टोमेटो को ही रखेंगे वैक्स वगैरह करके, दैट्स फाइन. Okay, now this was a huge chapter for exam, which was one reading chapter. Let's go to the next chapter, guys, where there will be actually something. Yeah, let's take value of supply first. Short and sweet chapter, and then we'll go to the time of supply. Value of taxable supply. So now it's again another interesting chapter. Now here, the value of supply. Now, why we have to calculate the value of supply? The first thing is that so that we understood that upon what we have to charge the tax, what should be the amount जिसके ऊपर GST लगाना है, or what people will do, because you are applying GST. Say if on 100 rupees, wait a minute, say if on 100 rupees I apply GST, the GST would be 18 rupees if it is 18%. सो अब मुझे जीएसटी कम करना है या जीएसटी बचाना है, तो मैं क्या करूंगा, लोगों को बोलूंगा 100 का गुड्स है, एक काम करो आप 10 रुपीज में ले लो, टेक ओनली 1.8 जीएसटी एंड विल एडजस्ट अमाउंट लेटर ऑन इन अनदर वे. दिस कैन हैपन, राइट? To save this, government has given regulation to see the value of this supply, to decide the value of supply as well. That's nothing but given in the chapter, value of supply. Okay, just a second. Yes, so value of supply we are upon. Now here, first thing is supply made to unrelated person where the price is sole consideration. The first and the most important thing here is that supply अगर आप unrelated person को कर रहे हो, when the supply is done, supply means what? Do you remember what was supply, guys? Supply where there is consideration, where there is what we say that uh, sale of supply of goods, or sale of goods and services, and it is furtherance and in course of business, right? So if these three things happen, then there is actually a supply. Further, supply made to now, तो एक तो supply होना चाहिए to whom? Unrelated parties where price is the sole consideration. So see, supply to unrelated parties where price is the sole consideration. If this thing happen, so see, when I am selling certain things to anyone else who is not related to me in any way, and where I have taken only price, only amount as a sole consideration, only consideration. So in this case, automatic that becomes, in this case, so everything is very, we feel that everything will be very true, राइट? सिर्फ मैं जाके किसी को भी ऐसे ही बच्चों, नए बच्चों को क्लास दे रहा हूँ जो वो मेरे पहचान का भी नहीं है, इन दिस केस क्या ट्रांजेक्शन वुड हैपनिंग विदाउट एनी प्रॉब्लम एज सच, without any manipulation as such. So the government also says that if these conditions are true, that supply is there not in related parties and price is the sole consideration, in that case the value of supply would be the transaction value. Whatever transaction value you say us, we'll take that as the value of supply, no problem, because everything seems fine here. But then when the supply is made to a related party, when the both are related party, there can be some problem. Similarly, when price is not the sole consideration, मतलब मैंने सिर्फ कैश या सिर्फ अमाउंट नहीं चार्ज किया है, मैंने और भी कुछ लिया है. सिर्फ फॉर एग्जांपल आई आस्क्ड देम कि एक काम करो, मैं आपको क्लास दूंगा, आप मुझे आपकी वॉच दे दो. मैं आपकी क्लास लूंगा, आप मुझे आपकी बॉटल दे दो. मैं आपकी क्लास लूंगा, आप मुझे आपका जो घर है वो दे दो. Something like that, anything like that, okay? For whatever transaction, you haven't taken something in cash, but what you did, आपने वो कैश बचाने के चक्कर में आपने कुछ और चीज ले ली. So price is not the sole consideration. It can be in any way. Sole consideration is not only in terms of any object. It can be any help as well, any recommendation as well. So in such case also, we do not trust you. So first case when we don't trust you is when you are a related party. Second case when we don't trust you is when the price is not the sole consideration. And third case when supply is for notify, when supply is notified, supply under section 15(5). हम कुछ supply को notify कर रहे हैं, उसको हम इधर ही लेंगे. सो इन तीन केस में व्हेन वी डू नॉट ट्रस्ट यू, योर प्राइस विल बी डिटरमाइंड एज पर द रूल्स. Okay, so and other than this, when there is price sole consideration and non-related party, that time there is no issue at all. It will be directly given there itself. Whatever the transaction value उसके ऊपर ले लेंगे. Up now section 52, it says that whatever is your transaction value or whatever value you are declaring, we will take the same value. Okay, but you have to add certain things into them if you have provided them, if they are applicable to you, to your total value upon which you will charge GST. So what things you have to add into your total value? First, taxes other than GST charge separately. आपने जो भी कोई भी चार्ज टैक्स चार्ज किया होगा उनको जीएसटी को छोड़ के अलग से, all of them has to be included here in the value. So say for example, as per section here, पहले का section transaction value was if 10,000. इसके अंदर we are doing all the addition mentioned in section 15(2). First we said आपने कोई भी टैक्स लगाया होगा वो ऐड कर दो जीएसटी को छोड़ के. Second thing, that can be say any of the tax what you may have charged them, the people. Third party payments made by recipient in relation to supply, which supplier was liable to pay and were not included in the price. से हमने हमारे रिसीवर ने हमें बोला कि सुमित सर एक काम करो, आप भेज ही रहे हो ना, तो एक काम करो हमारी चीजों को आप व्हाट वी से एक स्पेशल आइटम लगा दो उस आपके 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 आप, जैसे आपकी बॉटल है, एक काम करो हम आपको कलर भिजवाते हैं, वो कलर आप स्पेशली इसके ऊपर करवा दीजिए. ठीक है. थर्ड पार्टी पेमेंट मेड बाय रिसिपिएंट इन रिलेशन टू सप्लाई विच सप्लायर वाज लायबल टू पे एंड वर नॉट इंक्लूडेड इन द प्राइस. या फिर मैंने उसे बताया कि अच्छा, द यू केम टू मी एंड व्हाट से लिसन, सो दिस इज द बॉटल. ओके, आप मुझे आके बताएं कि सुमित सर एक काम करो बॉटल के ऊपर पूरा ब्लू कलर कर दो, आई वांट अ ब्लू कलर बॉटल. ऐसे ओके नो प्रॉब्लम, एक काम करो, ये मैं ब्लू कलर जहां से लेता हूँ ना उसको आप 10,000 रुपीज ट्रांसफर कर दो या 1,000 रुपीज ट्रांसफर कर दो. And then when making the bill, I haven't included the 1,000 rupees for the blue color. So this section 15(2) says that something like that, which was duty of the supplier to pay for. तो ब्लू कलर मुझे देना चाहिए था ना कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के अंदर, बट आपने दिया है. ओके, सो ये ब्लू कलर का कलर चार्जेस भी यहाँ पे ऐड करना पड़ेगा. Everyone clear? See now here, what's the read? Read it again. Third party payment made by recipient. So you were the recipient, you made the third party payment for in relation to our supply of this bottle, which supplier was liable to pay, which I was about to pay, but you paid it. So, and I haven't included in the invoice. So please include that as well because that is the actual value of this blue color bottle. Next, incidental expenses, including anything done by supplier in respect of supply till delivery of the goods and if charged to recipient. अब से मैंने इसके अंदर आपको पैकिंग का चार्ज लगाया 500 रुपीज, मैंने आपको ट्रांसपोर्टेशन का चार्ज लगाया 1,000. इवन दिस ऑल विल बी इंक्लूडेड इन योर ट्रांजेक्शन वैल्यू. ये सब भी आप ऐड कर दोगे जब आप जीएसटी लगाने वाले हो. फर्दर, subsidies directly linked to price of supplier other than the one given by state and central government. आपके प्राइस के डायरेक्टली कोई सब्सिडी रिलेटेड है जो आपने कम करके चार्ज किया है. तो फॉर एग्जांपल से एनजीओ सेड में सुमित सर आप लोगों को पानी की बोतल दे रहे हो, बहुत ही अच्छा भला काम कर रहे हो, एवरी बॉटल यू सेल इट टू पीपल ऑन अ डिस्काउंटेड प्राइस, वी विल गिव यू 100 रुपीज. सो व्हेन आई कंप्यूटेड दिस प्राइस दैट 100 रुपीज का डिडक्शन वाज ऑलरेडी इंक्लूडेड. तो ऐसा जो भी चीज आपने ऑलरेडी कम किया वो भी आप ऐड कर दो. Please understand this. This has a variability of issues while applying. What happens many a times, you get confused because of this. See, the item which I'm providing, someone has given me some subsidy for this, other than central and state government. So in this case, subsidy दी है मुझे तभी तो मेरी cost कम हुई है. For example, Ola two-wheeler, other than central and state government. I'm just taking an example here. ओला टू व्हीलर ऐसे आती है 1 लाख की, उसको एक एनजीओ ने सब्सिडी दी है 10,000 की, तो वो लोगों को सेल करता है 90,000 में. ओके, नाउ बट फॉर जीएसटी पर्पस दैट्स ग्रेट, यू आर चार्जिंग 90,000, दैट्स वेरी नाइस, बट फॉर जीएसटी पर्पस any such subsidy which is other than central or state government, that has to be added back, and this has to be taken as the value for the GST purpose. Everyone clear? So in question what happens, many times what they do, ये जो होता है ना, वो ना ये कम करके दिया आपको, आपको दिया रहता है 9 lakhs and they say that 10,000 सब्सिडी लिया हुआ है, so you have to add it back, and sometimes they say 10,000 सब्सिडी नहीं लिया हुआ है, then do nothing in that case. नहीं लिया है तो लो भी मत. Thereafter next, interest rate, interest late fee penalty for delay for payment of consideration. अब आपने उनको कुछ भी तरीके का चार्ज लगाया है, इंटरेस्ट, लेट फी, पेनाल्टी, वट एवर द चार्जेस यू मे बी चार्जिंग, even that too you have to add into your total transaction value, because GST simply says that whatever you are charging to your customer, whatever customer is paying you as a consideration, please consider everything, and then only we will charge you GST upon all of them. Everything clear? So that's your section 15.2, which is very simple. When there is no related party, price is sole consideration, this will come into picture. Okay, just read this once, guys. Then we'll go to the next part. अभी हम inclusion के बारे में बात किए, इसके बाद हम exclusion के बारे में बात करेंगे. Which thing should be excluded from your price? Just read this once, everyone. Shall I remove this markings? Then next, what things should be excluded from your price? Again, I'm saying this, we are not saying as a price when you're related party or price is not sole consideration. This is the normal wala thing when you are not related and the price is sole consideration. Even before or any time, discount given before or any time of supply and recorded in the invoice. अगर आपने आपके ट्रांजैक्शन होने के पहले कोई डिस्काउंट लिया है, the if you are given the discount as a supplier and also the same is recorded in the invoice, then and then only subtract that discount. So you'll subtract discount if it is recorded in the invoice and you are given before the supply, okay, or at the time of supply. So अगर आपने पहले दिया तो no worries, at the time of supply दिया तो record the same in the discount in the invoice. वो अनदर थिंग, अगर किसी को ये डिस्काउंट बाद में देना है, किसी को लेटर ऑन वी हैव टू गिव दिस डिस्काउंट टू समवन आफ्टर द सप्लाई हैज बीन डन, आफ्टर द इनवॉइस हैज बीन डन, देन देयर आर थ्री थिंग्स दैट नीड टू बी डन. फर्स्ट, इफ नोन टिल सप्लाई एंड लिंक्ड इनवॉइसेस एंड प्रोपोर्शन आईटीसी, आपके ये इनवॉइसेस से लिंक होना चाहिए, हर एक इनवॉइस से अलग अलग. प्रोपोर्शनेट आईटी आपसे, आप जो सामने वाले ने ऑलरेडी ले लिया होगा वो रिवर्स होना चाहिए, एंड बाय रिसिपिएंट ऑन द बेस ऑफ द डॉक्यूमेंट बाय सप्लायर, तो ही ये अलाउ होगा, नहीं तो ये डिस्काउंट आपको माइनस करने नहीं देंगे. ओके, सो इफ यू हैव टू गिव डिस्काउंट एट बिफोर द सप्लाई और एट द टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई, नो प्रॉब्लम, यू कैन जस्ट मेंशन इन द इनवॉइस एंड गिव द डिस्काउंट. बट पूरा ट्रांजैक्शन होने के बाद, सामने वाले ने रिटर्न फाइल करने के बाद 1-2 महीने बाद अगर आप कोई डिस्काउंट दे रहे हो, इन दैट केस द अदर पार्टी शुड व्हाट यू से reverse the proportionate ITC. It should be linked to all invoices and it should be on the basis document that has to be supplier, on the basis of document that by the supplier. तो ये डिस्काउंट हम आपको रिवर्स करने देंगे. दिस आर सेक्शन 15.2 and 15.3 rules which have been to be applied when you are coming towards your transaction value, that is TV. Okay, just a second, let me see here. Acha. So here, the in case of the people are not related, and in case price is not the sole consideration, and in case supply is not notified, in this three case, there are rule 30 to 34 that you see in your CA final. How to do the valuation. Okay, see here is one of the illustration that I want to take here itself. Everyone, please try to solve this. It's a very nice illustration. I'm reading it, guys. Yes, correct, Alvin. Black and White Private Limited has provided the following particular rating to sold by Colorful Limited. List price of the goods, exclusive of taxes and discount, is 50,000. Tax levied by municipal authority is 5,000. Packing charges not included in price above is 1,000. Further, Black and White Limited receives 2,000 as a price link and subsidy from NGO on sale of such goods. The price of 50,000 of the single is after considering the subsidy. So समझ लो, after considering the subsidy आपको क्या करना, याद करना. Black and White Limited also offers 2% discount on the list price of the goods which is recorded in the invoice. Please determine the taxable value जिसके ऊपर आप जाके tax लगाओगे. Come on everyone, please do it. You got 3 minutes time to do the same. Come on everyone, give me your answer. Yes, very good, Alvin. Very good, Rashmita, Suraksha, Hare Kishan. Very nice. Come on, everyone, please start. You have more 1 minute to go. Everyone done? Okay, let's see this. So first 50,000 तो आपके बेसिक है, वो तो आएगा ही. ठीक है. उसके बाद any taxes other than GST has to be added. Any other charges also charged to the other party has to be added. Subsidy 2,000 is already reduced. Reduce की है तो नहीं चलेगा भाई, ये ऐड कर दो वापस. Total becomes how much? 55, 56, 57, 58. 58,000. And your discount has been given at the time of supply and also recorded in the invoice. That's great. So that you can subtract here. So your answer is, wait a minute. Yeah. Discount is at the time of supply. So you have recorded it. Your answer is on 50,000. Remember this, huh? The discount on the list price. बहुत जन mistake कर देते हैं, discount total price पे ले लेते हैं. So you reduce it 1000 and your answer is 57,000. Very good. चलो लेट्स डू वन, एक मिनट मुझे और ऊपर कुछ देखना था पहले. Yeah, see this chart for discounts. At the time of supply, great record in invoice. Before supply, record in invoice. No problem. फर्दर आफ्टर द सप्लाई किया है तो आपके एग्रीमेंट में होना चाहिए, लिंक टू इनवॉइस होना चाहिए, एंड आईटीसी शुड बी रिवर्स्ड, देन एंड देन ओनली अलाउड, और इट वोंट बी अलाउड. Okay, do one thing, do this last question. One more question was there for the supply here. तो यही क्वेश्चन था क्या एक, illustration 2, correct. Okay, come on, I'm reading this for you. Just do this, then we'll take a break. Okay. Samriddhi Advertisers conceptualized and designed the advertising campaign for a new product launched by New Moon Private Limited for a consideration of 5 lakh rupees. Samriddhi Advertisers owned 20,000 to one of its vendor in relation to the advertising service provided to it by New Moon Private Limited. Such liability of Samriddhi Advertisers were discharged by the New Moon. New Moon further delayed the payment consideration and thus paid 15,000 as interest. Assume GST rate 18%. Come on, determine the value taxable for the supply by Samriddhi Advertisers. Yes, guys, what will be the answer for this? Won't answer everyone. It's so simple. Okay. Harikeshan has given the answer. Very nice. Rashmita has also given answer. Very nice. It seems your answer are same. It seems your answer are correct then. What about others? Alvin, Suraksha, Anuraj. Very nice. Okay. So see, 5 lakhs तो आप ले लोगे, वो तो आपको बेसिक चार्ज है. ये आपने आपके जो समृद्धि एडवर्टाइजर की लाइबिलिटी थी, जो सामने वाले ने पे ऑफ की, तो वो भी आप ले लोगे. इंटरेस्ट जो चार्ज किया है आपका, वो भी आप ले लोगे. 15,000 इंटू 100 डिवाइड बाई 118 करके. Okay, we considered it as an inclusive amount here. The interest, see, because the interest was total 15,000. So we include it, we take it as an inclusive amount. Why? Because whatever amount charged for to the अब recipient every amount shall be taken here. So total तो 15,000 था, बट क्योंकि हमें इसका जीएसटी का भी पार्ट लेना था तो वी टुक इट इंक्लूसिव एंड टोटल के ऊपर हम जीएसटी लगा देंगे। वेरी नाइस, वेरी नाइस। इट सीम्स आप लोगों ने स्टडी मटेरियल के क्वेश्चन किए जीएसटी के, राइट? इनकम टैक्स के नहीं किए थे आप लोगों ने सब स्टडी मटेरियल के क्वेश्चन? हाँ, इनकम टैक्स के आप लोगों ने स्टडी मटेरियल के क्वेश्चन किए थे या नहीं किए थे गाइस? कम ऑन, सेम, यस और नो? यस। ओके, चलो, लेट्स गो। अरे यार, हाँ। ओके, not all questions, some of them you are done. Okay, good, no problem. Chalo, let's go for a break then. We'll be back in 10 to 15 minutes from the break and then we'll continue from here. Okay, in the meantime, if you have any queries, please, yeah, it seems मुझे समझा, वो लगा ही था मुझे कि आपने इनकम टैक्स से बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन नहीं किए हुए, because you are not able to answer all the questions which I asked in exam, not in exam, in your classes. But it seems you have did of this GST. No problem, whatever the thing is there, we are going to take everything here, whichever is possible, at least to the concept part. In the meantime, if you have any if you have any questions, please pose the same. Once I'm back, around 10 to 12 minutes, we'll continue from here. Okay? If you have any question, pose the same. See you soon. Okay. So guys, we are done with the another chapter as well. Let's go to the we are done with the value of supply. Now let's go to the another chapter, that is your time value of supply. Now, see, each of this chapter has their own relevance. Okay, as we have seen the first chapter, place of supply, that was helping us decide that what is the place where we have supplied. So we can decide that whether we have to charge GST, IGST, CGST, or SGST. Okay, as it is interested or intrasted, depending upon that we were able to charge. So the first chapter which was there, just a second. Yeah. So place of supply help us to solve the problem of whether it is inter or intra. Okay. Now next, value of supply solve the problem at what amount we have to charge GST, and in what cases when price is the sole consideration and they are not the related party. Now the third is time of supply. Now why is this important? So as to when the time when in which time you have to pay to the government after charging to the your customer or your purchaser, and at the same time if there is any change of rate in between, then what to follow again, because then again there will be confusion that whether we have to go for old rate or new rate or what rate, or it can be again manipulation can be there in between. So the time of supply is another important concept which is there. So after this understanding these three, you can easily charge the GST by understanding all the application of three things here. So first thing here, time of supply in case of goods. So first we'll see the time of supply in case of goods here. Now here, the time of supply in case of goods is going to be earliest of the following. Whichever date is the earliest of the following. The first is date of issue of invoice by the supplier or the last day to which he is required to issue invoice under section 31 to issue the invoice with respect to supply. See, एक तो आपके इशू की डेट, इनवॉइस की इशू की डेट, या फिर द लास्ट डेट व्हेन यू आर रिक्वायर्ड टू इशू द इनवॉइस. बिकॉज ऐसा अगर हम आपके ऊपर ही छोड़ देंगे तो आप तो कभी इशू इनवॉइस इनवॉइस इशू करोगे ही नहीं. सो आइदर इशू ऑफ इनवॉइस डेट इफ दैट्स फाइन, or else last date to issue the invoice. Further, date on which the supplier receives earliest of this, either so when you are issuing the invoice or last date of issue invoice, or when the supplier receives the payment. Now again, when we are receiving the payment, you will take entering the payment in the books of account or the crediting bank account, whichever is earlier, because again आपने तो books of account में कभी entry करोगे ही नहीं. So either books of account or bank account, whichever is earlier. So from this due date of invoice or last date to issue invoice or date of payment or the books of account में जो credit हुआ वो, whichever is earlier, that would be your please time of supply. Further, no GST at time of receipt of the advance for supply of goods. In case of supply of goods by a registered person under the forward charge, GST to be paid on the outward supply of the goods on the date of issue of invoice or last date of issue invoice that have been issued in terms of section 31. So उन्होंने बताया कि अगर आपने कुछ भी एडवांस लिया है तो you do not require to pay any amount for goods, only for goods. If you have taken any advance, in that case you do not require to do any GST upon the same. But when you will do actually be supplying the goods for such advance, that time you take the goods का supply date, either your invoice date or the last day to issue the invoice का date. So this is very simple and straight in terms of goods. So in terms of goods, we have learned what uh, earlier of first invoice date or last day to issue invoice. Okay, and in case of what do we say earlier of this, okay, or else payment in books or payment credited in account, whichever is earlier on this two. So इसका earlier उसका earlier दोनों का भी earlier. And if you, in case of goods you have received any advance, so advance अगर आपको मिला है, but wait for this, go for this. Everyone clear? This is the time of supply in case of goods. Yes, everyone clear guys? Come on, say me yes or no. मुझे पता चलेगा ब्रेक से आए हो भी हो या नहीं, या अभी भी चाय पी रहे हो. Everyone clear? Shall we go to the service time of supply? Okay, very nice. Let's go there then. Now, for services, let's see here. Now see. Invoice issued within the time period prescribed under section 31, which is earliest of the following: issue of invoice or receipt of payment. Again, अगर आपका इनवॉइस टाइम पीरियड के अंदर इश्यू हुआ है तो देन इट इज अर्लियर ऑफ इश्यू ऑफ इनवॉइस और रिसीट ऑफ पेमेंट. अगेन पेमेंट के केस में ऑलवेज देयर विल बी वन विच आइदर बुक्स में आप ले रहे हो या बैंक में आ रहा है, विच इज अर्लियर. सो इनवॉइस in service here itself they have made one condition. If oh, wait a minute, not like this, I'll write it here. If if invoice is issued within time limit, yes or no? If yes, then the time of supply is earlier of one issue of invoice date because you have issued it in time, very good, or else the payment date. Payment date would be credit or book, whichever is earlier. Perfect. Further, now say if you haven't issued invoice as per section 31, that is you haven't issued invoice on time, correct time पे आपने invoice issue नहीं किया, तो now what would be the your time of supply? Either provision of service or receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. So now in this case, it will be either provision of service or payment. Payment will be again have two things, credit or book, whichever is earlier. So see, if अगर आपने इश्यू टाइम से इनवॉइस नहीं किया है ना, तो फिर अब हमें गारंटी नहीं है आपके सर्विस के ऊपर. सो व्हेन यू हैव प्रोवाइडेड द सर्विस or payment, which is earlier will be become your time of supply. Everyone clear? So these are the first basic issues of which are being solved by time of supply. Where in case of goods, you will see the date of issue of invoice of goods or the payment, whichever is earlier. And in case of service, you will see whether invoice was issued on time or not. If yes, then issue of invoice or payment, whichever is earlier. And if issue was invoice was not issued timely, in that case, your provision of service or payment which is earlier. Now, whenever I say payment, please by default take it in the same way that credit in the books or or your bank account credit, whichever is earlier. Yes. Further, when the above events are uncertain, आपको कंफ्यूज आपको पता नहीं है, आपको अनसर्टेन आपके इवेंट इनवॉइस वगैरह डेट्स की, डेट ऑफ द रिसिपिएंट शोज द रिसिट ऑफ द सर्विस. So whatever the recipient will show as the receival of the service, you go with that same date. Okay. If you want to draw, please draw these both charts. And remember, advance के केस में for goods will come here only. Either take a screenshot or draw it quickly, guys. Say me done once you are done, guys. And this is very basic. This you must be having already. Okay. Done, everyone? Let's go further. Now, everywhere we mentioned in goods as well as service that if issued within the due date. So in goods, we have seen that the due date issue of good invoice or due date, whichever is earlier, we have seen that. So goods के time में what is the due date to issue the invoice? If before or at the time of removal of the goods, जब आप supply के लिए goods को remove कर रहे हो तब, और delivery of the goods making available in case of making available them. तो जहाँ पे आपको डिलीवरी देनी है तो आप जब डिलीवरी के लिए निकाल रहे हो दैट इज योर टाइम व्हेन यू टू इश्यू द इनवॉइस, और जहाँ पे आपको असेंबल करना है या डिलीवरी देनी है किसी को, दैट केस व्हेन यू डिलीवर द गुड्स, दिस आर द टाइम व्हेन यू विल इश्यू द इनवॉइस. अगर ये टाइम में अगर आपने इनवॉइस इशू नहीं किया, सो व्हेन यू मूव आउट द गुड्स और डिलीवरी, अगर ये टाइम में आपने इशू नहीं किया तो फिर एक तो आपकी इनवॉइस डेट और एल्स आपकी जब ये इनवॉइस इशू करने की डेट थी वो विच एवर इज अर्लियर दैट विल गो फॉर. And in case of supply of services, before or after provision of services within 30 days, 45 days for banking company. So once you have issued the what do we say services, तो आपको 30 days के अंदर बिल इशू करना है. किया तो आपका हो जाएगा ये वाला कंडीशन ऑफर, और नहीं किया तो आपका हो जाएगा प्रोविजन ऑफ सर्विस की डेट से या फिर पेमेंट की डेट से विच इज अर्लियर. सो सी, इफ say this is the date when you provided the service, इसके 30 days में के अंदर you have to issue the invoice. If done, then this is the case. Where else here? If this is the case of provision of service, इसके 30 days में you have to issue the invoice. If you haven't issued the invoice here, so in this case, provision of service itself is they are taking here. That's given in section 31. Everyone clear? So invoice date is important because upon invoice date only everything will be dependent for your time of supply and your rules as well. Further, in case of RCM, reverse charge mechanism. Now, as you know, reverse charge mechanism में क्या होता है? See, generally, this is a supplier. Okay, wait a minute. And this is the recipient. Generally, he gives the goods, okay, and the recipient pays him the tax, right? But in reverse charge mechanism, the one who receives these goods, he himself will collect the tax and pay and collect or charge the tax and pay to the government, because these people have been exempted from doing the same. So see what is the time. We'll see that on in more detail once we'll go into ITC. But right now, pay attention. What is the under reverse charge mechanism? Your time of supply. See here. In the case of again goods, the receipt of the goods when you are actually receiving the goods, or the payment. Again, as soon as I've said you payment, it is always the payment date or the book date, which is earlier, and or 31st day from the date of issue of the invoice by the supplier, whichever is earlier again. So जब आपको goods मिले हैं या you have given the payment, okay, see it's reverse charge. So the goods मिले हैं या आपने पेमेंट दी है, डेबिट किया आपके बुक्स में, या आपके बुक्स अकाउंट बुक्स में डेबिट किया या आपके बैंक में डेबिट हुआ, whichever is earlier, or 31st day from the date when the other person has given you invoice, whichever is earlier will become your time of supply. Whereas in reverse charge mechanism, the date of again payment will be now this time debit in the books of account or debit in the bank account, whichever is earlier, and 61st day from the date of invoice which was given from the supplier. Okay, here there is no receiving ka category. That's the only difference here. So see, in case of RCM, time of supply rules for goods or services. For goods, it would be earlier of 31st day of invoice, okay, or else it would be what we say 31st day of invoice, or else it would be receipt of the goods, or else the debit. Debit are two things, in books and in bank. Similarly for service as well, but service there are only two things. One, either 61st day from issue of invoice, and other debit. Debit again are two things, books and bank. If you're not understanding anything, please ask me, okay? And if you want to draw it. Ask me if you're not understanding any of the particular language here, writing here. Done everyone? Okay. And in case of vouchers, if voucher, so this was the time of supply we seen first for goods, then we seen for services. In goods, we have seen if invoice either goods date or last day to issue invoice, whichever is earlier, or payment receivable date, credit in books or accounts, whichever is earlier. Then we have seen for services, that is your if your invoice is issued within the time limit, then in that case the invoice date or else the payment date, credit or books, whichever is earlier. अगर इनवॉइस आपका टाइम लिमिट में नहीं दिया है तो प्रोविजन ऑफ सर्विस और पेमेंट रिसीवल डेट विच इज अर्लियर. Invoice date, then we seen what is the invoice date. Invoice date for goods was that it should be done at the time of removal of the goods or at the time of delivery of the goods or handing over, you can say. And in case of services, it should be done within 30 days from the day giving of the service. So that were the rules for the services. Thereafter, we have seen for RCM. For RCM for goods, we have seen that it should be either receivable date or 31 days from your goods invoice, or else your payment date, debit or books, whichever is earlier, debit in bank or books, whichever is earlier. In case of service, debit in bank or books, whichever is earlier, or the what do we say, 61st day from the invoice date. Then further, the time of supply in case of vouchers, exchangeable for goods and services. So जब vouchers के बारे में बात आएगी, see, तो in this case what will happen if the supply of goods, जब हमने voucher issue किए थे तब ये clear था कि किस चीज के लिए supply है. Okay. At the time of the issue of the voucher, it was service were identifiable, the date of the issue of voucher itself. नहीं तो जब वो redeem होगा तब. फॉर एग्जाम्पल से मैंने आपको गिफ्ट में वाउचर दिए, जाके आप जाके रिलायंस में शॉपिंग कर सको, रिलायंस के ट्रेंड्स में जाके कपड़ों की शॉपिंग कर सको. सो दैट व्हाट विल हैपन नाउ, हियर एट द टाइम व्हेन आई हैव गिवन यू रिलायंस ट्रेंड्स क्लॉथ शॉपिंग वाउचर, दैट टाइम ओनली द सप्लाई इज आइडेंटिफाइबल. So time of supply will be at the time of voucher issue itself. बट से आई सेड दैट जाके रिलायंस में से जो भी चीज, जो भी ऊपर नीचे पूरे रिलायंस मॉल में से टॉयज खरीदना टॉयज खरीदो, कपड़े खरीदना कपड़े खरीदो, कुछ खाने का सामान लेना खाने का सामान लो, कुछ ग्रोसरी लेनी ग्रोसरी लो, फ्रूट्स लेने फ्रूट्स लो, मिल्क लेना मिल्क, जो लेना वो ले लो. पूरा रिलायंस में से, पूरे रिलायंस में से कोई भी कहीं से भी मुकेश अंबानी से कुछ भी मंगा लो आप. So in that case, you are not certain what you are going to do for this voucher. So when you will be redeeming it, actually, that time we know that what you have actually purchased, so you take that redeem thing. Okay. Next, time of supply of goods and services in residual cases. इसके अलावा अगर कुछ केस बच गए, so your if your periodical return is required, then return filing due date or else the payment of the tax. That will be your time of supply. Okay, that's your short and sweet chapter of time of supply which you have taken. I'll gone in depth into this because generally students have a bit of confusion regarding the same. Are you all clear, guys? Come on, say me yes or no. Shall I take one or two questions for you? Okay, let's go and let's give me answer for this. Come on, everyone, read this question and give me the answer for this. Wait, I will read it for you. Determine the time of supply for the given information. Assume the service being supplied in taxable under reverse charge mechanism. The supplier of service issues invoice for service provided. There is a dispute among the amount payable and payment is delayed. Payment made to the supplier on 21st of August. What would be the determined time of supply? Yes, or the answer, guys, estimate time of supply. Under reverse charge, it's service. Come on, say me the answer, guys. What is the time of supply in case of reverse charge mechanism service? Just a second now. 61st day from the date of invoice. Yes, correct. Very good. Very nice. Correct. Either this or this, whichever would be earlier. यहाँ का 61st day. Okay. So the 61st day recorded in books was on wait a minute. Answer. July 4th will be the time of supply, being the earlier of the two, that is stipulated date, that is namely 60th, following the six, that is 61st day. Following the 60 days मतलब 61st day. So that's correct. Okay. एक काम करो आप, एक और एक आंसर दो मुझे. Yes. Answer me this. See what's the question given here. Very good, Vinith and Anuraj. Determine the time of supply of services and the date of receipt of the payment with the help of the information given below. Okay. Supplier Dhriti Enterprise provides services taxable under the forward charge to Parminder Construction Limited. So Dhriti ने Parminder Construction को service दी. Parminder Construction issues invoice for the service. So Dhriti Enterprises provided services taxable under forward charge to Parminder. Parminder issues invoice for the services. Parminder Construction issues a check and records payment on its books of account on 30th of May. Payment is debited in the bank account on 31st of May. Payment is credited in the bank of Dhriti on 1st of June. Payment is recorded in the books of Dhriti on 2nd of payment. So they ask you the please supply of service of date of supply of service and date of receipt of payment. आपको दोनों बताना है उनको. एक्चुअली परमिंदर नहीं, यहाँ पे धृति आना चाहिए. बिकॉज धृति प्रोवाइडेड सर्विसेज ना. फिर यहाँ से चले गया सर. हाँ, इट्स Yes, everyone. Yes, but I feel there is a mistake in their question. What is the question number, yaar? Hmm. This is the one payment is entered in the books of account. Hey, wait a minute. I will just see where is the answer. Actually, the question is that answer is given wrong options there, I feel. This time four. I don't know. I feel there is wrong options given there. Okay. Yes, sir. वो दिख नहीं रहा मुझे screen. Okay. Let's move forward. Anyways, I feel that answers were wrong because see in that question. Pay attention. Supplier is Dhriti Enterprises. Provide service to the forward charge to the Parminder Construction Limited. ठीक है, fine. Now supplier Dhriti Inter provide services were provided on 4th of May. ठीक है. And Dhriti Enterprise issues invoice for the service on 12th of May. So was this issued within 30 days? Yes. So we will take what? The invoice date, which is 12th of May. Everyone right? Correct? Further, so either invoice date or payment date, whichever is earlier. Payment date is what? Parminder Construction issues a check and records in the books on 30th May. And payment is debited on 31st of May. तो हम क्या लेंगे? 30th में लेंगे. So your service would be 12th of May or 30th of May. Right? Whichever is earlier, that is 12th of May. So ये आपका determination of time of supply to 12th of May correct है. और ये option यहाँ पे गलत है ना? Everyone clear? Okay. That's it. Let's go to the next chapter. The next chapter we shall take is which chapter shall we take, guys? Okay, let's take e-way bill. Is everyone clear with that question? Okay. Okay. So e-way bill is also all about process. So what I will do, I will just quickly go through the main concept here and process को हम just फटाफट points में पढ़ लेंगे. Meaning of e-way bill and the way why it is. Now, e-way bill is an electronic document generated for the goods portal. So that what happens, see guys, if you transport goods from one place to other, government is notified for the same. And so that government, if checks in between, so any unauthorized goods are not transported. And unauthorized goods without GST is not transported, and hence GST has been not evaded from. That's the basic thing about e-way bill. Now, when is required to generate e-way bill? Now, see, very important things. First, when e-way bill has to be generated, e-way bill has to be generated whenever the movement of the goods consignment value is above 50,000 rupees. So whenever your consignment value, total consignment value is above 50,000, e-way bill has to be clearly generated there. Now movement should be whenever movement of the goods, that is also important. The movement of the goods should be there and the value of the good, this good should be above 50,000, then e-way bill has to be generated. movement should be in relation of to a supply, or for reason other than supply, or due to inward from the unregistered person. अगर इन कोई भी कारण की वजह से आपकी मूवमेंट होती है गुड्स की, so EV bill is compulsory if the amount goes above 50,000 rupees. Now here, person registered causing movement of the goods shall furnish the information in part A of GST EWB 01, and part B generally has all information about the carriage in which the goods have been transported. A has details of the person and whatever goods are there. Exception to minimum concern value of 50,000 whenever interested transfer of handicraft goods are there. Even though less than 50,000, the EV bill has to be filed. Okay, for इंटरस्टेट हैंडीक्राफ्ट गुड्स मूवमेंट, एक ही स्टेट के अंदर है, नो प्रॉब्लम. इंटरस्टेट हैंडीक्राफ्ट गुड्स है तो who causes the movement? The supplier is a registered person who causes the movement of the goods here. If the goods are supplied by unregistered person to a registered person, then in this case the recipient will be there. See, when a registered person supplies the goods, always the one who causes the movement has to file the EV bill, means the supplier. But in case of unregistered person supplying the goods to a registered person, the registered person, that recipient, he will file the EV bill. Information in EV bill, as I said you, EV bill part A registered person who causing the movement of the goods रहेगा, part B में transporting of the goods का रहेगा. Now, however, part A may be furnished by transporter if authorized, or by e-commerce operator, courier if the authorized where the goods are supplied through them. So अगर ट्रांसपोर्टर को ही ऑथोराइज कर दिया गया है, या फिर ई कॉमर्स के केस में जो पार्ट ए भी रहेगा वो भी आपका ट्रांसपोर्टर ही फिल कर देगा. बट यू हैव टू गिव देम इफ दे आर ऑथोराइज ट्रांसपोर्टर. Who can generate the EV bill? EV bill is generated by registered consignor or consignee. Anyone, either consignor or consignee, the one who is sending or one who is receiving, any one of them can generate the EV bill, or even a transporter if goods are handed to transporter by the road. Where neither the consignor nor the consignee generates the EV bill and the value of good is above 50,000, it is the responsibility of transporter. ये भी नहीं कर रहा है, वो भी नहीं कर रहा है, तो फिर भाई ट्रांसपोर्टर को बेचारे को आके उसको EV bill फाइल करना पड़ेगा. Other points, goods transported by railway shall be delivered only for production of EV bill. So in case of railway, आपको पहले नहीं करना पड़ता EV bill because you do not know of the details. So in this case, but the goods will be given to you only when you show them the EV bill. EV bill can be optionally generated. अगर आपको voluntarily करना है तो you are always welcome. Details of conveyance may not be furnished in part B. See now, what happened when in case of intrastate movement of goods up to 50 kilometer distance. इंट्रास्टेट मूवमेंट ऑफ गुड्स अप टू 50 किलोमीटर, मतलब आप एक ही स्टेट के अंदर गुड्स सप्लाई कर रहे हो एंड डिस्टेंस इज लेस देन 50 किलोमीटर फ्रॉम प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस ऑफ कंसाइनर टू प्लेस ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टर. सो पहली बात तो ये, आपको ईवे बिल कब भरने की, कब डिटेल्स ऑफ ईवे बिल, डिटेल्स ऑफ कन्वेंस में नॉट बी देयर इन पार्ट बी व्हेन योर मूवमेंट इज इन सेम स्टेट विद इन 50 किलोमीटर्स. अनदर, when the principal place of business से आपके goods transporter के पास जा रहे हैं for transportation, and principal place of transporter finally to POB for the consignee. तो सी, आपके goods आपके प्रिंसिपल प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस से ट्रांसपोर्टर के पास जा रहे हैं और फाइनली ट्रांसपोर्टर से कंसाइनी के पास आ रहे हैं. ऐसे टाइम में आपको पार्ट भी भरने की जरूरत नहीं है बिकॉज वो छोटा सा मूवमेंट रहेगा. एट द सेम टाइम, अगर आप एक जगह से दूसरी जगह दे रहे हो विच इज विद इन लेस देन 50 किलोमीटर, तो यहाँ पे भी आपको ईवे बिल कर पार्ट बी भरने की जरूरत नहीं है, पार्ट ए है. ट्रांसफर ऑफ गुड्स टू अनदर कन्वेंस, इन सच केस ईवे बिल शैल बी अपडेटेड. पार्ट बी आपको अपडेट करना पड़ेगा, एक गाड़ी से दूसरी गाड़ी में आप लेके जा रहे हो. कंसोलिडेटेड ईवे बिल इन केस ऑफ रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट, अगर चाहिए, आपके बहुत सारे ईवे बिल आपके पास आ रहे हैं तो एक साथ में ट्रांसपोर्टर को लगे तो कंसोलिडेटेड, इतने सारे गुड्स एक गाड़ी में जाते हैं तो कंसोलिडेटेड ईवी बिल का पार्ट भी भर सकते हैं जिससे एक साथ सब बिल अपडेट हो जाएगा. ओके, cancellation of e-way bill. E-way bill can be cancelled if goods are not transported or not transported as per the details. The e-way bill can be cancelled only within 24 hours of time of generation. उसके बाद e-way bill cancel नहीं हो सकता है. तो क्योंकि सी, अगर आप e-way bill बना के कैंसिल कर रहे हो मतलब देयर इज समथिंग सस्पिशियस कैन बी आल्सो देयर कि आपने e-way bill बना दिया, गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्ट कर दिया और अब आप कैंसिल कर रहे हो, राइट. सो अगर आपने e-way bill बनाया तो उस दिन विद इन 14 आवर 24 आवर्स यू कैन कैंसिल इट और एल्स यू कैन नॉट कैंसिल द सेम. फर्दर, नाउ आपके ईवे बिल की वैलिडिटी कितनी रहेगी? अगर आपका डिस्टेंस 200 किलोमीटर है अप टू 200 किलोमीटर्स एंड तो ओके, 1 डे इन केस अदर देन ओवर डायमेंशनल कार्गो. ओके, सो फॉर डिस्टेंस विद इन कंट्री अप टू 200 किलोमीटर एक दिन, कोई 250 किलोमीटर है तो 2 दिन, 400 किलोमीटर है 2 दिन, 450 है 3 दिन, for up to 200 100, and for every other 200 also thereof one additional day will be given, other than over dimensional cargo. Which are over dimensional cargo? Which are being given said as over dimensional cargo as per Motor Vehicles Act. So here for every 200 kilometers you are getting 1 day. So मेरा अगर डिस्टेंस कहीं पे जाने का 850 किलोमीटर है, the EVD bill validity would be 5 days for 200 200 200 200 up to 800 and one additional 200 के लिए. So 200 or part thereof additional day would be given to you. But remember, this days of this will start from the end of the day, like from the midnight when you had made the ई-वे बिल. मतलब मैंने आज ई-वे बिल बनाया तो आज रात के 12 बजे से ये दिन कैलकुलेट चालू होना चालू होगा. Where else, if it is over dimensional cargo, the 200 kilometer limit is done to only 20 kilometer, because this over dimensional cargo are very huge, they move very slowly, and for every part of the 20 as well it will take the 1 day for every 20 kilometer. So now say me, if I'm transporting, say आज wait a minute, yeah, if आज is date set 27th, अभी मैंने 5:10 पे एक ई-वे बिल फाइल किया. The distance is in normal vehicle, the distance is say 620 kilometer. Please say me, ये ई-वे बिल कब तक वैलिड रहेगा? Yes, on 27th of March I filed a ई-वे bill. Please say me, ये कब तक वैलिड रहेगा? Say me the date, कौन से डेट तक वैलिड रहेगा? Yes, everyone, come on, say me. Yes, come on, everyone, say me up to which date this e-way bill will be valid. Answers, please, everyone. Okay, see. So validity will start from the midnight. So and for how every 200 kilometers you are on learned 1 day, right? So on 28 एक दिन, 29 एक दिन. So how many days I will get total? 4 days for this. 30 and 31st. So up to 31st will be the validity of this e-way bill, which is generated now. Everyone clear? Guys, are you there or not? Come on, say me at least clear है या नहीं है? Hello? Why you are not able to give the answer then? Come on, say me one more thing. एक काम करो आप लोग, मुझे और एक बताओ. Say I have created a e-way bill on 5th of April at night at morning 1 बजे. मतलब ही 4th of April की नाइट, राइट? फॉर फोर फॉर 825 kilometer. For 825 kilometer. Please say me the validity of e-way bill. यस रश्मिका, आई विल एक्सप्लेन वंस अगेन। एक बार आप मुझे इसका अच्छा, मैं आपको एक बार एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूँ। सी, वंस द ई वे बिल इज बिन फाइल्ड, उस रात के 12 बजे से आपको नेक्स्ट हर 200 किलोमीटर के लिए 1 डे मिलेगा ई वे बिल वैलिडिटी के लिए। एंड इफ इट इज ओवर डायमेंशनल कार्गो, आपको 20 किलोमीटर के लिए 1 डे मिलेगा। दैट्स व्हाट आई सेड यू। सो इफ आई एम ट्रांसपोर्टिंग फॉर 400 किलोमीटर, आई विल गेट 2 डे। आई एम ट्रांसपोर्टिंग फॉर 600 किलोमीटर, आई विल गेट 3 डे, starting from today's night 12. And if I'm transporting from some other part like 420 kilometer, so 2 plus 1 3 days, so even part of 200 will get a one some complete day. So now you answer me। मैंने 5 अप्रैल को सुबह, मतलब 4 अप्रैल को रात में 1 बजे ई वे बिल फाइल किया फॉर 825 किलोमीटर्स। सेम इज द वैलिडिटी ऑफ दिस ई वे बिल विल बी अप टू व्हाट? यस। आंसर एवरीवन। 10th of April Rashmika, 10th of April Alvin, Hari Krishan, come on answer। Vinit, 10th of April, okay, very nice। सी, पे अटेंशन। पहली बात तो ये है, 5:04 को मॉर्निंग 1 AM आई फाइल द ईवे बिल। सो माई डेडलाइन विल स्टार्ट एट 12 PM, मतलब रात के 12 बजे से मिडनाइट। ओके, सो माई डेज विल बी फ्रॉम 6/4, 7/4। पहले तो डेज कितने मिलेंगे मुझे? 4+1 डे, दैट इज 5 days। 8/4, 9/4 and 10/4। 1, 2, 3, 4, 5। My date would be 10/4। वेरी गुड, ऑल ऑफ यू आर गिवन करेक्ट आंसर। क्योंकि वो रात के 12 बजे से मेरा डे टाइम चालू होगा। सो मेरा फिफ्थ, इवन तो मॉर्निंग 1 बजे, 4 की रात है, बट फिफ्थ तो डे है ना, तो फिफ्थ का मिडनाइट कब होता है, उससे मेरे दिन चालू हो गए। और वही अगर ये ओवर डायमेंशनल कार्गो है, तो मुझे बताओ कब तक रहेगा? कम ऑन एवरीवन आंसर। इन केस ऑफ ओवर डायमेंशनल कार्गो ये कितने बजे तक रहेगा, कब तक रहेगा वैलिड? ओवर डायमेंशनल कार्गो गेस 20 किलोमीटर फॉर एवरी डे। कितने दिन रहेगा? दिन तो आप बता दोगे ऐसे ही, कब तक रहेगा वही बताओ मुझे, दैट विल बेटर। टेल मी डेज एटलीस्ट, हाउ मेनी डेज इट विल बी वैलिड गाइस? चाहे तो इतना कैलेंडर में मत जाओ आप, मुझे डेज बताओ कितने डेज वैलिड रहेगा इन केस ऑफ ओवर डायमेंशनल कार्गो कवरिंग 825 किलोमीटर डिस्टेंस। 42 डेज, वेरी गुड। सो 820 के लिए 41 और 5 डेज ऊपर है इसलिए +1, 42 डेज। परफेक्ट। एवरीवन क्लियर विद दिस ईवे concept then? Now acceptance and rejection of e-way bill. The details of the e-way bill generated shall be made available to the supplier, where information in part A will be furnished by the recipient and transporter. And if they want, like if they want it's not of them, they can reject the same. E-way bill required in all cases. E-way bill is not required in generated in certain specified cases, which were earlier given. That is in the case if the it is less than 50,000 rupees, or इट इज इन द सेम सेम स्टेट फॉर 50 किलोमीटर से कम, या आपके ट्रांसपोर्टर के पास जा रहे हैं या ट्रांसपोर्टर से गुड्स आ रहे हैं, तो ई वे बिल नहीं चाहिए। Documents device to be carried in the person in charge. The one who is charge of vehicle, he should carry invoice and copy of each of the e-way bill. Verification document, commissioner and any officer can verify the document in any state once. Inspection of verification of goods, even they want, they can inspect and verify the goods whichever are there with you, for but cannot interrupt for more than period 30 minutes. Okay. In respect of outward movement of goods, a registered person who, being a composition supplier, has not furnished statement for restriction for furnishing information in part one, जो consecutive 2 क्वार्टर से नहीं भर रहा है रिटर्न, इन केस ऑफ रेगुलर पर्सन जो 2 टैक्स पीरियड से रिटर्न नहीं भर रहा है, तो ऐसे लोगों को हम ई वे बिल, हमने उनको ब्लॉक कर दिया है, मतलब उनको रुका दिया है। दे हैव टू फाइल दिस रिटर्न्स फर्स्ट एंड देन ओनली दे कैन कम एंड फंक्शन दिस ई वे बिल। नहीं तो क्या कर रहे हैं, ई वे बिल तो बहुत फाइल कर रहे हैं, but they are not filing the returns. Being a person whose registration has been suspended, being a person paying tax under the regular scheme has not furnished GST or one or in any of the 2 months or quarters of before. So for such people, the e bill has been restricted for certain time. Please, this is also important. This can be one of the question when once e bill has been restricted. Just go through it once, guys. Okay, that's it. So e bill chapter is done here. Now let me see which chapter I can take in the limited time we have. And ITC will take in the next session. Okay. Let me take records. Short and sweet, small chapter. Okay. Who is required to maintain his books of accounts and at which place? So every registered person, okay, at their place of principal place of business, wait, I mean, principal place of business as well as additional place of business and any other additional place of business they have. ये सारी जगह उनके बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में होने चाहिए। Further, accounts and record required to be maintained. Which records should need to be maintained? A true and correct account in following: production on manufacturing of goods, whatever you're producing, how much you're manufacturing, inward and outward supply of the goods, stock of goods की सारी detail, ITC availed, whatever input tax rate you are availed, output tax payable and paid, records by the rulers, record by the rules. Now here, what are the records that will be prescribed by the rules as well? Again, RCM suppliers supplies along with relevant document, goods imported, exported, name and address of the suppliers and recipient of the goods, separate account of advances, जो भी advance आपको मिला वो अलग से आप maintain करो, and address of the premises where goods are being sold, stored. ये सारे बुक्स आपको रिकॉर्डिंग पर्पस वाला चैप्टर एकदम, ये सारे बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट आपको रिकॉर्ड करना है और आपको मेंटेन करने हैं आपके साथ में, ठीक है। नेम एंड एड्रेस ऑफ ऑल द सप्लायर्स एंड ऑल द रेसिपिएंट ऑफ द गुड्स व्हिच यू आर सेलिंग टू। Records which are to be maintained only by supplier other than a supplier opting for composition levy. Other than composition levy, account of stock of goods and account of details of tax, ये सारी चीजें भी आपको रिकॉर्ड करनी है कंपोजिशन वाले के अलावा, बिकॉज कंपोजिशन वाला तो ये सब नहीं करेगा, वो सिंपली सिर्फ रिकॉर्ड ऑफ सेल्स रखेगा और सेल्स के रिकॉर्ड के ऊपर डायरेक्ट वो टैक्स गवर्नमेंट को पे कर देगा विदाउट अवेलिंग एनी ऑफ द आईटीसी। ओके, जस्ट गो थ्रू दिस लिस्ट गाइस वंस। Okay, further, रिकॉर्ड्स टू बी मेंटेन बाय एजेंट, जो भी एजेंट रहेगा वो क्या क्या रखेगा? सबसे पहले तो ऑथराइजेशन, कि उसको ऑथराइजेशन अपने प्रिंसिपल से सप्लाई गुड्स करने के लिए। पर्टिकुलर्स ऑफ ऑल गुड्स एंड सर्विस, डिटेल्स ऑफ ऑल अकाउंट्स टू बी मेंटेन विद प्रिंसिपल एंड टैक्स पेड ऑन रिसिप्ट्स एंड एवरीथिंग। Records to be additionally maintained by manufacturer and service providers. So manufacturer will keep what records? See, monthly production account showing quality, quantitative details, raw material utilized in manufacturing, goods so manufactured including waste as well. See, because we know अगर आप मैन्युफैक्चर 10,000 कर रहे हो, स्टॉक में सिर्फ 6,000 है, सेल सिर्फ 2,000 किया, मतलब 2,000 और कहाँ गए? To check that as well. For service provider, account showing quantitative details of goods or details of goods used in the provision of service if you have used any goods, and details of the input service if you have used any input service, if you have taken any ITC as well. Separate record for works contract to be maintained by person executing works contract. The one who is executing works contract, he have to keep a separate contract for all the works contract. First, name and address of the person on whose behalf he is doing and supplier from whom goods are being received. Works contract who is doing work on others' goods. Further, separate record to be maintained by person executing works contract. First, details of all the payment and description value of goods and service which have been received. ओके, सो क्या क्या पेमेंट मिले, कब मिले, कैसे मिले, वो सब, और क्या क्या चीज़ें वो यूज़ कर रहा है, क्या क्या चीज़ें मिली है उसे यूज़ करने के लिए सामने वाले से, वो सब डिटेल्स. रिकॉर्ड्स टू मेंटेन बाय ओनर और ऑपरेटर ऑफ गोडाउन और वेयर हाउस एंड ट्रांसपोर्टर प्रोवाइडर. Record to maintain by owner or operator of godown and warehouse. See who were whether registered or not. Records of consignor, consignee. See, even if the transporter or even if the owner of the godown and even if they are not registered, still they have to maintain this records of who is the consignor, who is the consignee of the goods, and other relevant of the details of the goods in such manner as may prescribe. So see, in short, they have simply asked each one of each of type that you have to maintain all the records. Okay. Further, transporter को क्या क्या रिकॉर्ड रखने हैं? गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्टेड, गुड्स स्टोर्ड विद इन ट्रांजिट बाय हिम, जीएसटी ऑफ ऑल द रजिस्टर्ड कंसाइनर एंड कंसाइनी एंड ईच ऑफ हिज ब्रांचेस. ये सब रिकॉर्ड रखना है, कौन से गुड्स है, कहाँ पे रखे, किसके है, किसको देने हैं, ऑल द बेसिक डिटेल्स. Owner of operator of warehouses, books of account for the period which particular goods remain with him, including particular of the dispatch movement receipt, सारे goods की. So warehouse के पास जो जो goods आ रहे हैं, वो सारे goods की details and whatever goods are is moving out from him, even that he has to maintain with him. Warehouse, why? Because see, people can what they can do, they can manufacture in excess and keep in warehouse as safe custody, ताकि वो कहीं पे जा ही नहीं पाए. तो उन्होंने पहले ही बताया हुआ है, जहाँ पे भी आप गुड स्टोर करते हो, इवन इन वेयर हाउस, यू टू शो देम एज एडिशनल प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस, ताकि हम जब रेट डालेंगे तब हम सब जगह एक साथ डाल सकते हैं. हाउ द अकाउंट्स एंड रिकॉर्ड्स विल बी मेंटेन्ड. सी, रिकॉर्ड्स इन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्म एंड ऑथेंटिकेटेड बाय डिजिटल सिग्नेचर. जो भी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्म के आपके रिकॉर्ड्स हैं, प्रॉपर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक बैकअप ऑफ द रिकॉर्ड्स मस्ट बी मेंटेन एंड प्रिजर्व. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि हम जब आएंगे आप बोलेंगे अरे सर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक बैकअप तो पूरा डिलीट हो गया. नो, यू नो दैट इज पनिशमेंट विल बी अट्रैक्टेड टू यू. Such record need to be produced on demand in hard copy or in electronically रीडेबल फॉर्मेट. अब जब आपको मांगेंगे तब ये डेटा आपको इलेक्ट्रॉनिक का कन्वर्ट करके उनको हार्ड कॉपी में भी देना पड़ सकता है या सॉफ्ट कॉपी में भी देना पड़ सकता है. डिटेल्स ऑफ फाइल्स, देयर पासवर्ड्स एंड एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ कोड्स एंड एनी अदर रिक्वायरमेंट इज देयर. सो आपके पहले बुक रिकॉर्ड मेंटेन करो ठीक से डिजिटल सिग्नेचर के साथ में. यू मेंटेन द बैकअप, जब मांगेंगे आप बैकअप के साथ में आपको हार्ड कॉपी भी देनी पड़ सकती है, एंड एट द एंड आपको पासवर्ड वगैरह भी सब देने पड़ेगी हमें, जिससे हम आपका ओपन कर पाए. Records in electronic form, books of account include in any electronic form of data stored in any electronic device. ये भी सारा आपको देना पड़ेगा. ओके. फर्दर, नो एंट्री टू बी एरेस्ड और ओवर रिटर्न. कोई भी चेंज नहीं करोगे, कोई भी एडिट नहीं करोगे आप. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट है ये सब. Incorrect entries other than those of clerical nature be scored out under attestation and after correct entry be recorded. Okay. मतलब इनकरेक्ट एंट्रीज अदर देन दोज ऑफ क्लरिकल नेचर बी स्कोर्ड आउट अंडर अटेस्टेशन एंड करेक्ट रिकॉर्ड टू बी मेंटेन. अगर आपने कुछ गलती से गलत कर दिया है तो उसका प्रॉपर कट करके चेंज करो, और जो गलत रखा है आपने वो भी स्टोर करके रखो. लाइक इनवॉइस, एनी इनवॉइस कैंसल्ड, वो भी स्टोर करके रखो ओरिजिनल. इन केस इलेक्ट्रॉनिक रिकॉर्ड बीइंग मेंटेन्ड, अ लॉग ऑफ एवरी एंट्री एडिटेड shall be maintained. Books of account maintained manually be serially numbered. Books of account are required to be produced on demand. Failure to maintain the account. Failure to maintain the accounts, the uh, the 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 PO shall determine the tax payable on the accounted goods and services as the case may be, and has been supplied to such person. provision of section 73 74, which are for your what we say, the 73 74 are your penalties in the case if you intervene the law, तो वो सब आपको लग जाएगी इसमें. Period of retention of account, this is another important thing. 72 months from the due date of furnishing the annual return for the year pertaining to such account. So pay attention, this is important because this can be in your MCQ question. Pay attention here. See, अब मेरा ईयर चल रहा है 23-24. इसका एनुअल रिटर्न जब जाएगा, वो एनुअल रिटर्न के ड्यू डेट से दे हैव सेड यहां से 72 मंथ्स तक आई हैव टू प्रिजर्व माय रिकॉर्ड्स. एंड यू कैन आस्क मी इन बिटवीन कभी के भी रिकॉर्ड्स इन द सेम 17 टू मतलब 12 6 ईयर्स अराउंड, राइट, प्लस वो ईयर जो आप पहले आप भर कर रहे हो. Thereafter further, where an appeal, revision or any other proceeding in any appellate authority, हाँ चल रहा है, जहाँ पे भी आपका अपील चल रहा है, रिवीजन चल रहा है, अपील अथॉरिटी के पास आपका कुछ केस चल रहा है, इस केस में जहाँ पे आपका ऑलरेडी कुछ केस चल रहा है, in certain such case you have to maintain your books of account for 72 months from the date of annual filing of annual return or 1 year from the final disposal, whichever is later. अब इसका मतलब क्या है? Attention, I said you an example before. See, my this is year 23-24. इसका एनुअल रिटर्न फाइल करने की डेट से ये है, यहां से दे हैव सेड मी टू मेंटेन द अकाउंट्स फॉर 72 मंथ्स. अब से जब 72 मंथ जस्ट खत्म होने वाले थे, ऑफिसर नींद में से जग गया यहां पर, एंड नाउ माय से केस इज गोइंग ऑन इन अपीलेट ट्रिब्यूनल. केस खत्म होते 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 ये और दो समझो और 2 इयर्स बीत गए. दे आर सेइंग दैट, तो अब आपको ऐसा नहीं कि केस खत्म हो गया रिकॉर्ड डिस्ट्रॉय कर दो बिकॉज 72 मंथ्स तो खत्म हो गए. दे सेड दैट यहां से आइदर 72 मंथ्स और केस खत्म होने के बाद 1 साल, whichever is earlier, so whichever is later, which is later this date, तो आपको यहाँ तक रिकॉर्ड सारे मेंटेन करने पड़ेंगे. Everyone clear? This is all for your chapter records. Okay, so we'll stop here, guys. After break, once you are back from the break, we'll continue with this further part, जहाँ पे हम पहले ITC ले लेंगे सबसे पहले, and then we will go to that registration, returns, TDS, TCS with the small chapters which are there, which are more of your theoretical based. Okay, but first we'll start with the ITC because that's one of the again very much important chapter which I kept on hold. Okay, that's it for now. See you back at 7 sharp, and then we'll finish the GST revision as well in that batch, and that will be end of our all revision for your DT as well as IDT, and I will be wishing you obviously very best luck that time. Okay, see you at 7 then. Bye bye.